And we're back.
We are back!
The Morning Invasion.
Come on, sleepyhead. Time to wake up.
I suppose we should get going.
Yeah!
Let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Before we kick off the morning invasion,
I don't even know what we're doing.
I would like to pay tribute to the giant ant that Steve-O killed just a few minutes ago. Moment of silence.
It's been a sad, dude. It's been a bad day for me already.
This poor ant has been hanging out here at the Star 88 Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios
This is actually true.
for probably days. He found a home, probably from my office, because there's so many crumbs. There's so many things this ant can live off of. And we saw he was very obese.
He was
This ant was very obese. And when I saw, and this is what's crazy about the whole story. And I apologize. I know we have a big show, but Steve-O and I just a few minutes before we're talking about how we both
we won't kill anything.
we won't kill like insects.
Guys,
you killed something else this morning.
Okay, listen.
Yeah,
I was walking in. It
yeah.
was rainy, and I was coming down the stairs, and I had my phone, and all of a sudden, I just felt a crunch, and I looked down.
Oh my gosh!
And I stepped on a snail, and I literally almost started crying.
Let me ask you a question.
Well, yeah.
Were you playing your video game?
No.
Oh. You know what? I'm going to go to Calvary today, and I'm going to get the footage
Yeah.
to find out, because if you were playing your video game, that's murder.
Yeah.
You're going to jail, bro, because people text and drive all the time and murder people.
Oh, dude, I felt so bad.
So you not only murdered a snail this morning, you murdered an obese ant who was just living his life here. It's so funny. We were sitting there talking about it. Oh, yeah. I avoid stepping on ants. Yeah, I don't think so. And then you murdered one right in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
Poor little guy.
I felt so bad about the snail, though, guys.
But not the obese ant?
Which is hilarious, because it was like, dude, this is what happened this morning. I feel so bad. I hate that. Oh, and then we're sitting there, and then, seriously, guys, like a mutated giant apocalyptic ant.
He was overweight. Are you kidding me? He wasn't...
Came crawling up, and I was like, oh! And it just crushed him.
You know what? You heard it first. Steve-O doesn't like overweight things. Okay? You heard it first. I think
Man.
we can move on now, because that hurt me this morning.
I
when
know.
I saw it. That guy was just living the life, just living off my office.
And here I thought you were going to do a salute to my 30s or something. Like the end of my 30s.
I mean,
the
we're
end
almost
of a decade.
there. We got 3 days left.
Yeah.
3 days left.
Gosh.
Good morning, everybody. Dex and Steve-O.
Uh-huh.
Guys, we got a huge show today. Oh, my goodness. Today's Friday the 13th.
What's going to happen?
Ants are going to kill you. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Snails and ants are
taken over.
Are going to come and find you.
I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
It could.
Can you imagine, like, getting eaten alive by ants?
Ugh.
Ooh.
Somebody said ant lives matter.
Exactly. Thank you
Marie
for
says
that.
a snail. They're so innocent. I know. I didn't.
And so
mean
slow.
To.
He couldn't get out of the way,
Gosh,
man.
I was.
That's the problem. Like, they're too slow. They can't get out of the way.
Yeah, I know. I felt horrible.
You sure he's not still alive? And he just doesn't have a shell?
That's what I'm saying. He's totally alive.
But he's like trying to like get away from the
Yes.
pieces of shell that are
Like,
cracked.
stuck to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Like his little things were like.
You probably have little shards of shell just stuck in him. Poor little guy. He's probably bleeding out right now.
Somebody said snails are turtle food. That was curmudgeon. It was a red ant, by the way, guys. Giant red ant. Fire ant. But it wasn't just like a fire ant. It was like a Charizard ant. It was the biggest ant I've ever seen. So to me, it doesn't count because it was like a mutated. It wasn't of Jesus, guys.
It wasn't of
it
Jesus.
Was a satanic.
Wow.
It was a satanic ant.
Wow. You are. You know what?
It was satanic.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you guys, a lot of people chiming in, just wishing that ant and snail a safe journey into the next life.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they will return to the dust of the ground. What's that Bible verse? And they will go and to the dust.
There's no Bible verses on ants.
And when the dog will die, it will go to the dust of the sand and the beaches and the air. Yeah. 505-338-3700 if you'd like to call in. We're also hanging out on Facebook Live and YouTube Live at Star 88 FM. And you can text into the show. What's the live line number?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483. Somebody just chimed in and said, hey, good morning. Happy Friday the 13th. Since we're mentioning birthdays, please don't forget August 12th, the most important birthday of the year.
August 12th, huh?
That's Teo's birthday.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's not Teo chiming in, so I'm like...
Yeah, but remember Teo? He used to talk about it every single day, like a month before his birthday. It was like, countdown, guys.
Gosh.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Somebody said I killed a queen. Her army will return.
Oh, see? She was vacationing in my office is what was going down.
Oh, man.
She was getting some time away from all the ants. Gosh. Wow. There's a spider, too, that hangs out in my office, and he'll come out and say hi every once in a while. I'm dead serious. Like, he'll just, like, come out, and I'll move my hand real quick and be like, it's cool, bro. It's cool, man. Hey, do whatever you need to do. I'll just wait patiently until you go back in your little hiding space. You know what? You don't mess with them, they won't mess with you. That's the way it works. That's the insect kingdom
Guys,
for you.
to be fair, he's been reading this book. It's called Shardek's Web, and it's a really good book.
Now you're just trying way too hard. Shardek's Web? What?
Yeah, like Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte's Web. Yeah, I gotcha.
It's like a spider that talks.
Gosh.
There's like a pig.
They talk to me, guys.
Sorry.
Like I talk to the bees. The bees never sting me.
Yeah?
Yep.
Gosh.
Still got to test that theory.
Teresa says you got to hide that spider from me. I'm a killer. I didn't mean to the first time.
Okay.
I love snails.
Yeah, well.
I have nothing against snails.
We'll see what happens at the trial. Guys, speaking of crazy, insane people, yesterday, we talked about it towards the end of the show. There were thousands of people, probably millions of people all over the country that were waiting in line for a Build-A-Bear. Never underestimate the passion you can inspire with a $4 teddy bear.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? $1 teddy bear. If you got a 1-year-old,
yeah,
man, that Build-A-Bear is going to be $1. So, let's go. Yeah. Let's go to the mall.
Our boy Matt Marr was in that line yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was on Instagram. No.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, so Build-A-Bear Workshop, they run a special sale where kids could get a bear for the price of their age. I guess with these Build-A-Bears run at least $20. And, you know, kids aren't in school. Parents are like, let's go. So thousands of people all over the country. Did you see the footage here at, like, Cottonwood Mall?
No.
It was insane. Well, the store started running out of inventory fast, and so they pulled the plug on it. So at around 11:30 a.m. Eastern, they posted messages on their social media saying they were shutting down the promotion for, quote, safety concerns. Yeah. So you can imagine what happened next. People lost their minds.
This is crazy. This is a crazy event.
You better call somebody real fast, because we're about to have a problem out here. Because there's people that have been out here for 7 hours, and I want to get in for their babies.
Well, yeah. They want to get in there for their babies.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, to be fair, they're not wrong. People like camped out for this
Yeah.
stupid event.
You've been waiting in line for hours?
Only to be told, sorry guys, we're shutting it down. Inventory is real low.
Yeah.
Can't do it. They
Yeah.
did not say like, hey, limited to X amount of people or X amount of bears or.
Do you really think that they just didn't understand that thousands of people would come rushing?
I guess not. I still can't believe that that's what happened. I hadn't even heard about this Pay Your Age promotion. But then yesterday on Instagram, I had so many friends in those lines freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Marr, our girl Shelly Rabondo from KRQE
Shelly
News
Rabondo
13.
was there. Oh, my gosh.
But like for a bear not to cover it.
Well, I bet they're covering it today.
Yeah.
She's fired up.
Because there's people that have been out here for 7 hours.
Yeah.
And I want to get in for their babies.
That's true.
She's not wrong.
Shelly what's her name?
Shelly Rabondo.
Thank you.
How do you not know Shelly Rabondo? Don't you
They're
dare
great
be smart
friends,
her
man.
name.
I had something in my mouth. It was caught. I was eating a granola bar earlier.
By the way, somebody chimed in to fix my terrible Bible memory. There actually is a verse about ants in the Bible.
Oh, my gosh. Talk to me.
Proverbs 6:6 says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise." Which is hilarious because this morning you straight up said that, and that's biblical now.
Thank you.
You said, when I'm running, I try so hard not to step on ants because they're working so hard.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said.
Now
They're working,
you have
working,
a life
working.
verse, Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Man, you can learn so much from an ant. They are the hardest working insect in the kingdom.
Are they, though?
And they're the strongest.
What about the bees, man?
You know what? Good call. I don't know which one is, they're both, are they like cousins, you think? You know, I bet you.
Also, Proverbs 30:24 and 25. 4 things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. Ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer.
Wow, man. Ants.
Ants
Biblical.
are in the Bible, bro.
Heck yeah.
That's the NIV, too. That's not like a weird made-up version.
Wow.
By the way, somebody sent in a photo of Build-A-Bear at Cottonwood Mall,
my
and
gosh.
I'm like dumbfounded.
Thousands. There are thousands.
They really,
There's more people for Build-A-Bear than there was at Freedom Celebration this year.
yeah, thousands of people in line. No joke.
That's
That's
crazy.
insane to me. And here's the worst part. Like, a lot of these people didn't get their stupid bear. They're all in line with their children. So their children waited hours and are now crushed.
Yeah. Well, here's what it's kind of brilliant with Build-A-Bear because think about it. Kids are still going to want that Build-A-Bear.
Yeah.
But now, mom and dad, there's going to be a pretty high percentage of those people that are going to come back and they're going to want that Build-A-Bear, but they're going to have to pay full price now.
Yeah. Well, actually.
Oh, did they get a little coupon?
So Stacy said, one, it said while supplies last, which is cool. So, hey, while supplies last. Also, they did send a $15 off coupon to emails and handed out coupons, but they ran out of those as well.
Oh, my gosh. They were not prepared.
They were not prepared.
Ugh. Well.
Yeah. Ken, who has the golden voice, chimed in and said, I love how Steve-O can shave one day and have a beard the next.
Oh, yeah, right? Your beard is already coming in strong. Yeah.
It grows fast, man. It's that Spanish blood.
Mm-hmm.
This is my grandfather, Valerio Garcia.
Mm.
Maybe. My dad had pretty thick hair, too.
Yeah.
The white man.
You look hot this morning, bro.
Thanks, bro. We have a photo shoot today, so I had to take a shower.
No, I meant you're like sweating.
Oh.
Just kidding. Guys, coming up at 7, we have something pretty cool that's going to be going down. Joey Belleville will be joining us in studio along with a guest. This guest is his half-sister who he just met face-to-face for the very first time last night. And if you missed it, when we come back in the next break, we'll play some of that phone call that happened back on May the 4th. Steve-O and Joey got to talk for the very first time to Joey's half-sister. who tracked him down.
Yeah.
Hired a private investigator.
Yeah, he had no idea.
And so they got to talk on May the 4th for the very first time. And it, man, I was listening to it again this morning and I started crying. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. It was great. And so at 7 o'clock, they're both going to be here. And yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see both of them together. I bet they're just enjoying each other, just hearing the stories. And, you know, like I said before, I got a half sister and it's pretty cool getting to hang out with her because there's just a lot of things that, you know, I mean, we didn't grow up together, but we still laugh alike. We, you know, some of the same mannerisms, you know.
So crazy.
It's really weird. Here's this stranger that's just like me. So weird. So what are you into? What kind of music? And so crazy. So I'm excited for Joey. It'll be really cool. It's coming up here at 7, and when we come back, we'll play a clip from that phone call for all you people that didn't get to hear it. All right. We got to take a quick break. We're live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios. You guys can text in 505-585-LIVE. And we're hanging out, YouTube and Facebook Live. Go and hang out with us. Star 88 FM. We'll be right back.
Evangel Christian Academy is a private school that is Christ-centered for tomorrow's leaders. With affordable tuition, small classes, a great sports program, and a secure facility, Evangel strives to equip students for the work God has for them. Our high school utilizes dual credit through C&M by offering 4 courses on our academy campus taught by our staff. Evangel uses a leadership-driven and individualized learning model to help prepare your student to stand strong in their faith and be ready for the real world. To further speak to individual students with various circumstances, we have a Christian-focused online homebound program for up to 20 students, grade 6 through 12. For more information about our programs, grade K through 12, please call 505-883-4674 or go online to ecanm.info. That's ecanm.info.
On Star 88, here's a solar flare from Oz Guinness. The story of Christian Reformation, revival, and Renaissance underscores that the darkest hour is often just before the dawn. So we should always be people of hope and prayer, not gloom and defeatism. God can turn the situation around in 5 minutes. Star 88.
One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, over and over again. Going right back to the start, starting from where we begin. And I don't wanna be your friend, I just wanna be your love. And even if I'm chasing you is good enough. I keep on running back to you. I can't lose this time. And no matter what I do, I can't lose my. I keep on running back to you. I can't lose this time. And no matter what I do, I can't lose my. Fit, I throw a fit, and I leave you alone. And I don't wanna be your love, and I just wanna be your love. And even if I'm chasing you, no matter what, I keep on running back to you. I can't lose this time, and no matter what I do, I can't lose my. I keep on running back to you. I can't lose this time. And no matter what I do, lose this time. And no matter what I do, I can't lose him. I keep on running back to you. I can't lose this time. And no matter what I do, I can't lose mine.
Ben Corson considers fear with a Star 88 PowerPoint.
Fear is a terrible master, but a wonderful servant. When fear bullies you around, it's terrible. But when fear is a servant directing you in the direction you need to go, it can serve you as a compass. So actually use fear to your advantage and say, I'm going to overcome fear by making it my servant, and fear is going to be a compass directing me in the direction I need to go. So the thing that scares me the most, I say, okay, that's what I most need to do. And when you do the things that scare you the most, those are the things you care the most about, those are the things you most need to do, and that's the most fulfilling life. So fear is a compass showing you where you need to go. Terrible master, wonderful servant. Terrible master, wonderful servant. You see what I'm saying? So as you face your fears and follow your dreams, I know it'll be scary, but Proverbs 10:24 says, the desire of the righteous will be granted. Dream aloud by light of day, and never, period, stop, period, dreaming, period.
That's Ben Corson, a PowerPoint on Star 88.
We're on the right track.
public congressional hearing for FBI agent Peter Strzok under fire for anti-Trump text messages.
I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed. I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok.
At least 38 people were injured when a school bus filled with students was involved in a crash with a truck.
I believe in NATO. I think NATO is very important.
After leading allies to believe the U.S. might abandon its commitment to NATO, President Trump reversed course.
The family is stepping down following allegations he used the N-word during a conference call.
Stormy Daniels was arrested at a strip club in Columbus, Ohio. The charges have since been dropped. Her lawyer says it's a setup.
Nominations are out for the 70th Primetime Emmy Awards, and for the first time in 17 years, HBO does not lead the pack.
A Chicago man was charged today with a felony hate crime after he was caught on video berating a woman for wearing a T-shirt showing the Puerto Rican flag.
Build-A-Bear stores were holding a special Pay Your Age sales promotion. Turnout was so massive, the sale was canceled out of, quote, crowd and safety concerns.
Crazy. You're crazy, man.
Because there's people that have been out here for 7 hours and not want to get in for their babies.
Mm-hmm. Mama bears, man. Mama bears. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday the 13th, TMI, live from the Dreamstar Remodeling Star 88 Studios. Huge show today. Sam Swan coming in?
Yeah.
Gosh, I haven't seen that guy in like a year. It's been forever. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Coming up here at 7, Joey, Belleville, and Jackie. Jackie is Joey's half-sister.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man. So, I was gone for a month, so I wasn't a part of this. And how did she end up? We'll get to the whole story again after 7. But how did she end up getting a hold of Joey? So it was through a private investigator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Set it up for everybody.
Yeah.
We'll play a clip here.
She hired a private investigator. Through that, found out she had family. I think found an uncle. Trying to remember. And through all that, ended up finding out, like, hey, you have a sibling. And I think she contacted him through social media. I can't remember. Pretty sure it was. I can't remember.
We'll get the whole story coming up. But on May the 4th, you guys got to talk to Jackie. Well, Joey got to talk to Jackie for the very first time, and we got the whole phone call up at our Facebook page at Star 88 FM if you want to go listen to it. But for those of you that missed it, this is what happened. And get the tissues ready because, man, this was pretty incredible.
Hello?
Hi, Jackie?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Joey.
Hi, Joey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're on the air. I'm sure you know that. Kind of weird, but I'm...
Hi, Jackie. Steve-O, too. I talked to you yesterday.
Hi, Steve-O.
Hi.
How
so
are
good to hear you again.
Are you nervous? Because I'm really nervous.
I'm very nervous,
okay. Yeah. So where have you been all my life? I know it's probably a long story. But how did I just found out about you a day and a half ago? Tell me how you found us.
Well, I paid $2,000 to a private investigator, and I wanted to find out who my birth mother was. An older couple adopted me when I was a baby, and when they passed, I started my search to find my birth family because I had this big hole in me my whole life, and I could never fill it. You know, I could eat, I could drink, I could smoke, I could do everything, but nothing ever filled that hole. It's like I needed to close my circle and find my answers. And then I found her name and her brother's name, and I called him, and that's how I found you.
Jackie, so you only just found out recently then, like who? So let me just tell you that, our mother your biological mother, our mother passed away when I was just turning 8. And
I was 16.
You were
Because
16.
it was 1980.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and she struggled with cancer for quite a while, but she was a tough and a good woman. And I spoke to my father, whom he met, which would have been, obviously after far after you were born. And
Right.
I told him about you, and he was like, "Wow!" And he was just said, "You tell Jackie that if she wants to know any stories or anything about her mother, that she can call me, that she's welcome to me as well." But I just have to tell you that, I have a family. I have my wife, my 2 children.
I saw their picture.
Yeah.
I have your picture on my phone.
Thank you. And so my
Beautiful family.
Thank you. And my life has been, I have to say, really complete and really whole, but in this last 24 to 36 hours in learning about you, I have to say that it's kind of like God carved out a little hole. And I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like, I miss you. I've missed you. I have not been whole upon learning this. I realized that, how you think you got it, but then you find out what you've been missing. And in finding out about you, I realize I've been missing. So allow me to say, like I said in the message, welcome. Welcome to your family. Welcome to the beginning of you and I getting to know each other. And and I just want you to know that that we might be far away, but we'll find a way to see you. And I love you already. It's just kind of instinctual. I don't know how else to say it. But I'm
I say thank you for that.
I'm so glad.
As being raised as an only child, finding out that I have a brother was very happy. I was very happy.
Man.
Why are you the biggest jerk?
Go get the tissue, please.
Dear
Goodness sakes. I don't know.
I was trying so
I'm ready to
hard
go. I can't
just,
handle
stare
the
at my
7 o'clock hour.
phone
I can't
and
do it.
not-
I can't do it. I don't want to
What
do the
the
7 o'clock
heck,
hour.
man?
You're on your own. You did just fine back on May the 4th. I'm out of here. Gosh, man.
So coming up at 7, we're going to have them both in studio.
Yeah, we are.
Hanging out.
Yeah, thanks to, I guess, some Starmy members out there. They all pitched in to
make this happen.
Make it happen for Jackie to fly out here to meet Joey face to face. And what better way than right here on the Morning Invasion? So we're excited to talk to both of them coming up.
Our boy Matthew in St. Louis is like, stop it! I can't cry at work!
Yeah.
Dude, right?
Yep.
Man alive.
Guys, hire a private investigator to look into your life and see if there's anybody out there you might not know of. Especially if you're an only child, like what Jackie was saying. She's an only child.
Yeah.
And that would be tough,
Yeah.
Did
That's
she?
Brodus.
Yeah, right.
Joey.
Yeah.
I mean, Chrissy is his sister, quote unquote, but that's it, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. So I totally get it. I totally understand wanting to have that family,
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Yeah, you guys can chime in 505-338-3700 if you'd like to call in. And you can hang out on Facebook and YouTube with us and watch Joey and Jackie reunite here on the air coming up at 7 o'clock.
Man alive, I don't know.
I don't know either,
Maybe
man.
Joey's done this. Yeah, he can take the reins. How about we go?
How about we go and they can just do
They'll
the
do
show.
the show.
Chip would totally approve that.
Gosh.
You know he would.
What? Sorry.
Oh, wow. Isaiah Thomas agrees to a one-year deal with Nuggets?
I love the Nuggets. I'm sorry.
Poor Isaiah Thomas. He's just not like he got injured and now he's not anything like he used to be. It's just, he's just getting traded left and right. I forgot that he was a Laker. He was a Celtic and then he was a Laker and now he's going to be a Nugget. Anyways. Jeez. 505-585-LIVE if you'd like to text into the show. Let's talk about something light.
Okay.
Let's talk about ultimatums. Have You ever thrown down an ultimatum with Chrissy?
Oh, gosh.
Has Chrissy ever thrown down an ultimatum with you? Maybe you shouldn't go there.
I know. I'm like, can't think of any. Honestly, off the top of my head, it's like, no, that's not true. I can think of one. And it's real. We've been married 15 years. And previously, we were both actually smokers. And it was something we both were praying and like seriously trying to quit. But it's hard for those that had any kind of like nicotine addiction in their lives. And on our wedding day, it wasn't really an ultimatum. It was just kind of like a promise. Both of us quit smoking on our wedding day. And that was it. Cold turkey. Because we had each other. We didn't need that thing anymore. And we've never, ever gone back.
Wow.
Almost 16 years. Dude, that was crazy because it was like, for both of us, not something we both wanted to, but it was hard.
Yeah, I bet.
But for some reason, like, that was it.
Yeah.
Because we had each other. As long as we got each other, we got the world spinning right in our hands, baby, rain or shine.
You don't have to sing the whole song. A married couple in Istanbul, Turkey, they were having problems earlier this year after the husband decided to get a dog. His wife thought it was too much extra work to take care of the dog, so she gave him an ultimatum. It's me or the dog.
Oh, no.
He went with the dog.
Oh, no.
So they're getting divorced now. He chose the dog.
That took a weird turn.
That backfired in her face, right? Do you think she actually thought that he would pick the dog?
Oh, man.
And now she's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He went with the dog, guys. He's like, okay, that's fine.
Man, wow.
You know, that kind of, see, that's the thing. I don't know if are ultimatums ever good. I mean, sometimes you have to draw the line in the sand with certain things.
That's a really, really good question. Actually.
Drugs.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. I could totally understand ultimatums. Like, hey, if we find drugs in the house, you're out.
Yeah.
This is I don't think this is okay. This is not an okay ultimatum. You know, this is something that you could definitely work through and should be able to work through. A dog.
Yeah. Man, that's a good question. Are ultimatums ever okay?
Yeah.
Within a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are things that you would like your spouse to change, but
yeah. Hey, if you continue to go out with your friends every night, there's the door.
Yeah. Remember the Stormy chimed in and said, I'm not big on ultimatums, but when my husband and I first started dating, my husband used to go tanning a lot.
Wow.
I told him if we were going to stay together, he'd have to stop because I was not going to be with an Oompa Loompa that dies from skin cancer.
Is that an okay? Is that a good ultimatum then? Because I mean, that's.
He said he stopped, and we've been married 8.5 years, and he's so white now.
Oh, man.
The only ultimatum that's good is the Bourne ultimatum. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's what remember the Stormy said.
What was your ultimatum?
Man.
Did you ever throw an ultimatum down on your significant other? We'd like to hear about it. 505-338-3700. Good morning.
Good morning, my brothers. How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, Rob. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just here enjoying the day off. Hey, by the way, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah, dude, right?
Yeah.
God.
No, of course I'm crying.
Can't wait. 7 o'clock.
Oh, man. Yeah, all righty, man. I just want to check in with you guys, make sure you guys are doing all right. I'm good. Things are all right, you know.
Oh,
all
good.
Right. Good, man.
We're moving and shaking, man. But Dex, we'll be in touch, man. I got to talk to you about a couple things.
You got. Oh, that sounds serious,
ultimatums.
bro.
You gonna throw down an ultimatum?
Oh.
All righty, man. You guys have a blessed day, man. Today's a great day. Have a good one.
You too, Rob. Sounded really like I was in trouble.
Woo! He's gonna throw down an ultimatum.
Mm-hmm. Yep, ultimatums. What do you think? Are they ever okay? And also, what was the last ultimatum you threw down, or did you have one thrown down on you? I'm trying to think. You know, I know that I have given ultimatums in the past.
Yeah?
And I know that most of them were probably, they were all wrong. Definitely, you know, maybe not all wrong, but, you know, some of them, I don't know. Maybe if you get caught lying, hey, you lie, we're done.
Well, same with like work ultimatums. Does work ever, you know, like, hey guys, no.
Yeah, what's the definition of an ultimatum?
A final demand or statement of terms, the rejection of which will result in retaliation or a breakdown in relations.
So could you apply that to work?
Yeah, you could. Hey, man, you're constantly late. You're late one more time, gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
It's an ultimatum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Final demand.
My first radio job, there was 10 rules, and if you broke any of them, 0 tolerance.
No way.
You're out of here. I mean, it was something. I mean, a couple of them were like, "Hey, if we catch a soda on the counter next to the equipment, you're fired."
Wow.
Yeah, there's no, you know, getting a talking to or a warning. It's you're fired. 0 tolerance.
Remember the Starman on the live line chimed in and said, "I threw out an ultimatum once." Yeah, because it was like moldy.
Oh my gosh!
Like, and you just didn't. If you have ultimatums, like you don't want to keep those. Can't do anything with them.
No. Why?
Because like salsa tastes bad.
Stop it.
Okay.
Stop it.
I'm sorry.
This married couple in Istanbul, Turkey, they had problems early this year after the husband got a dog. His wife thought it was too much extra work to take care of the dog, so she gave him an ultimatum. Smeared the dog, and he went with the dog. So they're getting divorced now because of this ultimatum. This ultimatum.
It doesn't sound like a word anymore.
This alternator. Because of the stupid alternator.
505-585-LIVE is the number to text into the show. That's 505-585-5483. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have any of those. An ultimatum. I mean, you throw that out to your kids, right? Hey, if you don't clean your room, you are never playing video games again.
Wow. Yeah, sometimes some of the punishments you throw down on your kids, I go, whoa. It's got to be tough living in the Jeter household. Never again? Ever? Like forever until you're 18?
I mean, maybe.
And even then, will they get to play video games even if they're 18 and still live in a home?
Man, remember the Stormy said that their wife said that I have to stop doing so many puns. She said she was going to leave me if I didn't pull it back some. So one day we were in a park and I said, "So you're going to leave me?" And I haven't seen her since.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Fun Joke Friday!
Oh! And now, another episode of Pun Theater. Pun Theater!
You know what?
What?
I call my iPhone the Titanic.
Why?
Because it's always sinking.
No. No. Pun Theater!
Get out of here with that. It's ridiculous. So dumb. Pun Joke Friday? We ain't doing that.
Yes, dude.
We ain't doing that.
Oh my gosh. Incredibly.
Good morning.
Incredibly done.
Good morning. I'd like to throw out an ultimatum right now.
Oh, no.
Oh, who's this?
And it has to do with butter on the counter.
Oh, no.
That's been there. You know, it was. I come home, and there's this butter in a plate, just sitting there, and all what looks like a bunch of black hairs all strewn through it.
That was
It
from the
like,
corn on the cob.
What did you do? What are you doing?
That was from the corn on the cob. And butter's, it's fine being out on the counter. You don't have to refrigerate butter.
No.
What?
That's up for debate. But the thing is, you know, I come home. I've worked my butt off all day, and there's
not
this
really.
butter with black hairs
was from the
What'd you do?
husk.
Shave your head over the
Oh
butter?
my gosh.
It's not ants. I don't know why I thought it was ants. It's not ants. Okay. Which, by the way, why do people leave sticks of butter out on the counter?
Because it's completely fine,
Right?
bro.
But it's
No,
weird
it's
to
not.
me.
No, it's just soft.
That's
Who
Chrissy
likes
does
hard
this
butter?
too. No, but
Nobody likes hard butter, bro.
yeah, we have like a little butter tray thing, and there's just a stick of butter that's just
Yeah.
always out.
Exactly.
And
There's
it
nothing wrong with that.
freaks me out, man.
You don't have to refrigerate butter.
Yeah, it's got
Freaks me out.
put it in the fridge.
Yes.
It's a dairy product.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm with
Do
you,
you
Bill.
leave cheese? Do you leave cheese out on the counter?
Oh.
Do you leave milk out on the counter?
You know what? We're gonna leave that butter
I will
out on the
fight-
counter,
Hey,
and we'll
there
see
you go.
how long it lasts.
Hey,
okay?
hey,
What?
hey,
What?
hey,
what?
hey,
What? Hey! Hey!
I got something else to say. So Kay was like, you know what? If they want to hear my story, she'd be willing to talk about that too. It's very similar to Joey's. You guys know the story.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. That's crazy. It's happening all over the world. People reuniting for the very 1st time with loved ones. With
So just a heads up to the Star Me. If you do the 23andMe DNA test, be aware that you're going to find out more than you bargained for.
Yeah,
And
true.
it's not that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying there's the potential of finding a lot of people out there that are connected to you.
That's true.
So.
All right.
Okay.
Love you guys.
I love you. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye. I don't
Did
know
he just
who
throw
he's
out a
talking
butter
about.
ultimatum?
He did. He did. I don't know who would do that, but it wasn't me who left the butter out. It was Jake. It was Jake. That's who it was. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Joey Belleville reuniting with his half-sister. Can't wait to see how because they met last night for the very first time. So we'll get the whole story on how it all happened if you're just joining us. That's coming up next, live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios.
C.S. Lewis is coming to Santa Fe. Award-winning actor Max McLean portrays C.S. Lewis on stage in The Most Reluctant Convert. Theater Mania says that McLean delivers an uncannily spot-on performance. The Chicago Sun-Times describes it as provocative and highly entertaining, and the Washington Post calls it hugely moving. C.S. Lewis on stage, The Most Reluctant Convert, coming July 18th and 19th to the Lensick Theater in Santa Fe. Visit cslewisonstage.com for more info.
This week on Connect with Skip Heitzig, Skip reminds you of a special privilege you have as a believer.
We have a covenant relationship with God, as did Jacob. Sons and daughters of God have the special calling and opportunity to be a blessing to people in this world. Are you?
Connect with Skip Heitzig this week. As he wraps up the series, Joseph looks a lot like Jesus.
Sundays at 6:30 on the Mission Briefing. A Star 88 Supernova with Greg Lord.
You can't just say from now on, I'm a Christian and just sort of do Christian-y things without Christ. Let me illustrate. Let's say you said, I am now a surfer. And I am a surfer because I bought a surfboard. And you know, people when they buy surfboards and want to learn to surf, they always buy the wrong board to start with. They buy some short little performance board and, you know, and they get their little wetsuit and they've got the right wax and they've got the stickers on the car and they can't get up on their board and they get discouraged, so they hang it on their wall and that's the end, right? Or maybe you go down to the beach and you're there with your board and you're checking out the waves, but the thing is you never go out. So you're not really a surfer, but you have a surfboard, you have board shorts, you have wax, you have a wetsuit, but you don't surf. You're not a surfer, you're a poser.
Catch Greg Laurie's teaching show, A New Beginning, on our sister station, KNKT, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. on 107.1 FM. This is KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, New Mexico's fresh alternative. Star 88.
Lately I've been reeling, watching the nightly news. Don't seem to find the rhythm, Just wanna sing the blues. Feels like a song that never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones before my heart turns into stone. So when somebody please pass the megaphone, I'll shout it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hear my prayer tonight. I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice. Let me testify. Oh, hear my prayer tonight. 'Cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice. And I choose. Let it move. Let it move. Let it move. Yeah, I choose. Let it move you. Let it move. Let it move you. Yeah, back when I was younger, my eyes were full of life. But now that I am older, I live at the speed of light. Feels like the cycle never stops. Feels like it's never gonna. Gotta get that fire back in my bones before my heart turns into stone. So when somebody please pass the megaphone, I'll shout it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hear my prayer tonight. I'm singing to the sky. Give me strength to raise my voice. Let me testify. Oh, hear my prayer tonight. 'Cause this is do or die. The time has come to make a choice. And I choose. Let it move. Let it move. Let it move. Yeah, I choose. Let it move you. Let it move. Let it move. Though I walk through the valley in the shadow of night, oh, with you by my side, I'm stepping into the light. I choose. Let it move you. Let it move. Let it move you. I need that joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. I need that joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. Joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. I need that joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay.
It's the Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O on Star 88.
I love when it's raining, the way it hits the pavement and bounces onto your skin. Yeah, I just wanna be it. Say you wanna get out of here, somewhere where the skies are clear. I
Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O.
There is calm, there is song, there is peace, there is war, there is love, we are torn, oh Lord. There's a void, there's a song, there's a death, we are born. There is blood, we are home, oh Lord. If you're free, prove it. If you're free, prove it. If you're not, loose the chains on your soul. Come, freedom. There are slaves, there are kings, all abandoned, they are free, all misplaced, they believe, oh Lord. If you're free, prove it. If you're not, loose the chains on your soul. Come, freedom.
Can't tell them. If freedom is free as they say it is, where we go, where they displaying it. We wanna start with a change scene. It's the promised land up for the taking. No one is free on no slave ships. Only a slave with enslavement. Egypt is still in our nation. It changes faces, face it. Whatever I yeah, I'ma need more than they paying me. I don't need money, I need a key. I'ma need ego and liberty, free in the hidden invisibly. I'd rather die than be sleeping in tyranny. Just like I got it, I give it like, oh. Race to the nations, no hating, you know. We integrated, we be in a race. So you loving your neighbors, they come let them know.
If you're free, prove it. If you're free, prove it. If you're not, loose the chains on your soul. Come, freedom.
The Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O on Star 88.
Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios.
We didn't even tell Jackie what to do, bro.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
I was
did.
like, we are the worst.
Short tutorial.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
What the heck, bro?
There's a volume for it.
It's pretty
He's
easy.
always helping.
It's pretty easy. All you got to do is talk in the
It's
microphone
pretty
and
easy.
put the headphones
All right,
on.
Dex.
Here.
See, you're doing great.
There you go.
That's exactly what I just did.
Right up on that.
I have
That's
it.
exactly what I just told Jackie.
This is simple.
Welcome, Joy Belleville and Jackie. I don't know your last name.
Lewis.
To the Morning Invasion. And if you don't know what's going on, you're just joining us. You can go and get the whole interview, the whole phone call that you guys had on May the 4th.
Yeah.
Where you and Joey got to talk for the very first time because apparently you hired a private investigator to find out if you had family out there.
Right.
And you found this guy.
Yes, I did.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Listen, man, too soon with the jokes. All right? You can mess like that with me.
This guy is what you gained, and that's awful. Gosh.
So it's like, are we dealing with integers here? Am I is it like
Quite
a negative?
blessing.
Yeah. So,
Quite a blessing.
Okay, so talk about this, guys. One, welcome. Two, back in May, we got to all talk on the radio. You guys reunited for the first time ever, and then
Yeah, you put that together, buddy.
yeah.
I wish I had something about it to make fun of you about, but I can do nothing but super thank you.
Oh man. Oh.
Don't!
I won't tell stop.
So, we're on YouTube and Facebook. I ain't got time to cry. People are chiming in
I know.
hey, I just got ready for work. I just did my makeup. Can we not?
Yeah.
So, Jackie, welcome to New Mexico.
Thank you.
It's been 2 months since you guys connected. So for you first, what's it? I mean, this is like a whole world change. Like, what's life been like since May the 4th?
It's been a series of just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, Jackie. She is the she's a director at a nursing home there.
Okay.
And any clinical kind of organization, there's like it's called JACO. It's like the equivalent of
Equivalent of JACO, Department of Health.
Yeah, like the clinical IRS can show up anytime.
Ooh, yeah.
And they do it like once a year to come check your stuff out and audit you and all this stuff. So the reason she couldn't come out sooner was that they were due for an inspection. And so we're like, well, let's do it in July because that way they will have come. Well, they still hadn't come and they barely came this week.
They came Monday.
Oh, my gosh.
And they were exiting Thursday, and I was not going to be there. So my whole transport here was worrying.
Yeah, no kidding.
But they left. She didn't get tagged on anything. It was awesome.
Okay, good.
And so
I could take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Was there any like anxiety because like you're dealing with work stuff and then you're jumping on an airplane to like connect with your long lost brother? Like what was that like?
This wasn't anxiety. This is a positive, wonderful thing. This was
yeah.
You know.
But were you worried that maybe there was like a catfish element here that like that there was gonna be? Because I had to I'm like, she would text and be like, it'd be really great if you were there to pick me up from the airport. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm gonna be there,
Yeah.
Right.
But then I think about like, I know friends that were like, in these deep relationships online and they sat at the airport and nobody showed, and so I'm like, no, I'm going to be there. I'm a real person,
And he was there with his kids, my niece and nephew, and
oh man.
it was nice.
Is that crazy? Like Insta family? Like
Then he thought I had walked past them. So I backtracked, and then they texted me again. So I turned around and went the other way again.
Well, because when you get out of the gates, you got to walk a little ways, and then you got to go up that little thing.
Yeah.
And so she hadn't hit the revolving doors yet.
And I knew.
And they don't let you get past. And so I'm like, okay, whoa. I said, if you haven't hit the revolving doors yet, you haven't passed us.
Yeah.
So.
And I knew as soon as I saw him, I would know him.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even say a word. She walked right up, and we just hugged, and it was all just like super awesome. Oh gosh. So, but then she didn't get in till like 9:30 last night. So it's raining.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is really not an accurate picture of Albuquerque, right?
I brought you guys rain.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
Thank you, because it was lovely last night. I enjoyed the rain very much.
She's like, I brought an umbrella. I'm like, just so you know, around here when it rains, like everyone's super happy. So nobody bothers with the umbrella.
Nobody has an umbrella here. It's crazy.
So did you guys get to hang out a little bit last night for
so
hours?
we brought her back to the house and we sat and chatted for a little bit. But it's 2 hours later for her, so it was already like 11:30.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take up too much of her time, so then I took her back to the hotel.
So what was it like, just hanging out with each other? Because when I got to hang out with my half-sister for the very first time, there was things that her laugh and the way that she just was doing things. I was sitting there watching her going, oh, my gosh, she's my sister.
Yeah, well, so you're catching it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, we have not had a full day together yet. This is like the first thing we're doing today.
Dude.
And, I was asking her stories about the nursing home.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I didn't ask if everyone got like a free copy of Cocoon or anything when you're there, but I was like, do you have any like crazy stories, Is there like a crazy Larry, like not our crazy Larry,
Don't repeat my response.
But someone who's like the mayor, And she's like, it's all crazy stuff that like I probably can't even repeat, dude, because it's mostly people that just like,
Yeah.
Don't repeat.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I wouldn't like HIPAA repeat anything, but I mean, just the general funnies.
Right.
Yeah. Gosh, you guys. So what's on the agenda? Like, what are you guys going to do?
So, today we're going to be looking at a lot of photos, maybe just cruising around, and then tomorrow we're having a private little get together at my house that you guys were invited to. Maybe I didn't invite you, Dix, not on purpose. And then and then just kidding. And then I think Sunday we'll probably go to Santa Fe.
Okay.
And then she leaves Monday morning. For some reason, I had it in my
6:30.
mind that she left Tuesday, but she leaves Monday.
And this is your first time here in Albuquerque, too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. I love it. I do love it here. Whatever. He's from like, he grew up in Montana, San Diego.
You
boy.
know, I don't like the desert. I'm not a desert guy, so.
I love it here.
So what were your, like, how far west had you been, Jackie?
This is as far west as I've been.
Well, all right.
I
Well,
know.
you can't really count LAX.
No.
Yeah.
I have gone to Tahiti, Bora
Oh,
Bora,
okay.
and New Zealand.
Wow.
Bora Bora.
I did some scuba diving there and blew my U-station tube and.
Oh man!
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even.
So I mean, I've been places.
Yeah.
You know,
So you're an adventurer.
I'm an adventurer.
Dude, that's so
Yeah.
not like Joey at all.
I have a beautiful camper that
Dude,
I could just pull on out here. Really.
Yeah. That is cool. So that's your bag. That's what you like?
Yeah.
Going exploring?
Exploring, camping.
What's the coolest place you've ever explored?
I would say Bora Bora.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's there? I don't even know where Bora. I could not point to Bora Bora on the map.
It's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's
Like, where is it?
community fish traps, and when you catch something, you throw it under a bush. You cut it open, throw it under a bush, and wait to see if insects come. If no one comes to eat that fish has eaten coral, and you could die if you eat it.
No way.
Oh yeah,
man.
It's just all these like little things. They live off the land totally. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Dude, Joey can't even camp.
It's in the French Polynesia. It's all the way out in the French Polynesia.
I'm serious. This is like totally not your thing.
Listen, dude. I've ridden a bull, okay? I've ridden a bull.
I'm just saying, like,
All right?
we like glamp, you know? Like, there's no...
No, it's true. So wait, so now do you tell me a little bit about, because I don't know anything about your adoptive parents.
Yeah. My father was an artist.
Okay. What kind of artist?
He was an oil painter. He had a sign
dope.
business. He did pen and inks, historical pen and inks.
Oh, wow.
He liked old clipper ships.
Okay.
He did really awesome ships, and like the colonial period.
Okay.
Like, let's say, he had a sign company when he was growing up. Back when you had to hand do the signs.
Yeah.
And he did silk screening. He was
Okay.
all pre-computer.
Right.
When the computer came out, and even in drafting, he passed. So it's thank God, because he would not have been able to translate into that world. He was too skilled with his hands. My mother, she was an executive secretary for McNeil, and then she liked to sell furniture.
Okay.
You know, she told me all about antiques and the legs and the feet and the shapes of things and what era and where in the world, German this, you know, Duncan Fife, and I can identify things
That's
based
cool.
on, you know.
She walked into our house and was pretty pumped at some of our, you know, some of Heidi's antique choices.
Heidi is an amazing artist. She has collected a wealth of awesome.
But we were explaining to her, like, we're in New Mexico, so we don't have a ton of antiques like the way you have East Coast. It's more like archaeological finds, you know?
I would call it kitschy.
Yeah.
There you go.
It is. So, okay, so what do you, like, what were their nationality? Like, what?
My mother was German.
Okay.
My father was Welsh.
Okay. It's because me and Heidi were definitely... we definitely had figured out that you had not grown up around like a loud Italian family.
No, not at all.
Because you've met my Uncle Mike and
a stoic German family.
They yell when they're happy. Like it's when they're quiet you got to worry. But everything's you know, Steve-O would fit right in,
dude.
because it's like, dude, I'm crying right now, and it's like, you know, whereas normal people would be just like.
Right.
And be just crying, you know, but you have to yell it out.
Oh, yes.
And so,
yes. Oh, man.
So, yeah, it's really funny because we were like, okay, you know, she's Italian, but definitely just a different upbringing there, you know.
Yeah.
Which I guarantee my wife appreciates, because there's a little bit of a no emotional outburst zone in my house, you know. Where it'd be like, I'm like, what did you do to this? She's like, whoa, you got to read your voice. I was like, because I'm not in the library. This is my house. I said, I'm not angry. I'm just like expressing emotion.
Oh my gosh,
It's like, let's
yes.
repress all this and then watch what happens.
I have that in
But she's
me.
like, but you can just like, calm down a little bit before you say that. You know, I'm like,
man.
okay, I'm not. Okay. And then she'll say things and she's like, you're getting so, but and I'm not getting, and then if you say like you're getting
I'm
so
just
mad,
like you, Joey.
then it's like, I'm getting so, but I'm not really that, I'm not really
Hispanic
mad.
too. It's like Italian. My Hispanic family, like everybody was loud.
It's passion.
It
It's
is.
passion.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not. I
Yes.
try to. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I have moments of that.
Okay.
And I have to watch myself because I can be loud.
Can I
Very,
just tell
very
you right
loud.
now? We don't mind.
I know,
girl.
right? You be as loud as you
just
want.
crank it up to 11 while you're here.
I'm down with that passion, bro. So yeah. Gosh,
if you're
this is
just joining
amazing.
us right now, we have Jackie, and she hired a private investigator to find this guy right here, Joey Belleville, our dear friend, and they just met for the very first time last night.
You've got to talk about this, Jackie. Like, I mean, you mentioned it back in May, but for those that are just joining us for the first time, because Dexter wasn't here, what happened? Like, what stirred in you? Like, what was it that you were like?
I've always wanted to do the search, but I waited until my father passed, and I really can't remember. I took care of him in his last months with his trach and everything, and I just tried to put that behind me. But my mother passed in 2007, and she thought she was just going to the hospital because she didn't feel good.
Yeah.
She actually had 4 hours to live, so she was worried about ordering a sandwich, and I'm like, look, we're going home, and we're going home hospice.
Yeah.
You know, get whatever you want to eat.
Yeah.
Sure enough, 5 hours later.
Wow.
You know, so it was a really messed up time too. But I waited.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it when she was around because I didn't want her to feel disrespected or, you know.
And you
any
knew,
less
and they told
than.
you were adopted
and
like
when I was
early,
in kindergarten,
right? Okay,
sure. So I always,
yeah.
But I just had that respect, and then I just let it go, and finally, I said, I have got to do this. I'm getting old, and you know, I don't want to miss the opportunity.
And so you hired an investigator.
Well, no, I started on my own.
Okay.
And I went to the courthouse, and I requested this and that and all kinds of documents, and then finally I couldn't get anywhere, so I took the documents I had to the OmniTrace people.
Okay.
Private investigator there did the rest of the legwork and was able.
Because this is all pre-internet. It's not as if you can just like do a
find
search.
Michael.
Okay,
You know?
so that's my mother's brother.
Okay.
Uncle Mike, who's
Uncle Mike.
really loud and
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
And he was the mailman in Ambler, so like knows the whole town.
Okay.
So Mike Delaquila, like everyone knows Mike Delaquila.
Right.
So he was probably the easiest to find, yes?
Yeah.
Man.
And so you tracked him down
I
first?
tracked him down. He was so happy that I found him, and I went over there that night after I talked to him.
Because it turned out that you lived what? Like
From his daughter, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What?
The whole time.
And-
So like 30 minutes or so from my uncle, like she's living in Pennsylvania, and my cousin, his daughter, is living 2 minutes in the same town.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
A dog walk away.
No way.
Yeah, dude. This whole time.
That's
this
crazy.
whole time.
Man.
Yes.
Wow.
Not knowing.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and then when you met him, I'm sure he was like very cold and distant.
Yeah, right.
Not at all, right?
No.
Is he not the most
he
just
is
like
just
loving
the most
and
loving,
yeah.
caring,
Yeah, he's the best.
sweet man ever.
Was
Yeah.
there any nerves before meeting anybody? Like, what was that like? You're searching, was there a time where you had to wait on it and go, oh, man, I don't know. Or did you just pull the trigger immediately? It's like, I found my family, I'm going.
No, I just went for it. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
Time's ticking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's a scripture
When
that
you
says
work
we're
in a
not
nursing
promised
home,
tomorrow, right? Yeah.
You see,
You're not
you see
promised
the-
tomorrow.
The worst possible case scenario unfolding on people every day.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you say to yourself, no, this
Yeah.
isn't going to be me.
Yeah.
What am I going to do different today? You know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did you ever do the ancestry DNA thing?
No.
Nothing like that?
No, I didn't.
Love that face.
Wow, because a lot of people discover their family through that. You know, if Joey, any of his family is on there, then that would have pulled up right away.
Yeah, we were just saying,
the
like,
case. They have to be on there.
Yeah, so
exactly.
that's how come we all have found out we're related to Thomas Roosevelt. or
No,
Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, see,
You know,
that-
Thomas Roosevelt.
Yeah, whatever.
He's a very famous president.
Thomas Jefferson founded our nation.
Yeah. So we're all related to him somehow,
That's
I guess.
cool. So my wife, Christy Franklin, maiden name, is directly related down to Benjamin Franklin.
Wow.
So our families hate each other, apparently. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin were like frenemies. They were like,
Oh, that's a
They were like
shame.
bros, but not. But they were all contentious and weird. And I mean, it was the
Interesting.
founding of our nation. So
Well,
they were all trying to do something.
Or someone.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
For real, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
Yep. That's why they're
Yeah.
sporting them white wigs,
Yeah.
yo. Attracting the ladies.
So
They didn't have showers. That's why they had to powder their hair.
Really? See,
Well, I thought- no, I
That's
heard-
why they had powder rooms.
Yeah,
It was before water was introduced into the house.
Oh, my gosh.
Then the bathroom wasn't called a bathroom; it was called a water closet.
See, I heard that
Yeah.
the wigs were
I love
they started
history.
from
This is amazing.
STDs.
What?
It started from STDs. The wigs.
Where did you see
No, I'm
that?
dead serious. It's a.
How was that a
Did
thing?
you not hear that?
No.
Because they
I
were
think it was
losing
more of
their
a
hair.
uniform
I thought it was
look.
because you couldn't fix your hair and wash it, so you covered it.
See, that makes
No, there
more-
was. I'd heard that the STDs.
Where did
were,
you hear
no,
that?
they were
No.
making the hair fall out. Okay, Joe Rogan
You know
podcast.
that.
That's what he said.
Joe Rogan. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It was seriously. It was like chlamydia or something, and,
Well,
and their
you
hair
know
was
what?
falling out.
That does make a little sense. but,
That does make sense.
Yeah.
And they were quite pale looking.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've never read that in any
This
of the
has been the
history books.
best.
You
Yeah,
know.
I don't know how true it is. Or not. I never researched it.
So,
Dude.
but didn't you say that like the fruit of this search, you were kind of mainly hoping for like at best like a photo and a story, maybe.
Right. My intentional the fruit of the search I really wanted was to meet my mother,
Right.
to meet my birth mother. And then when I realized that, you know, then I was thinking, okay, well, as long as I can see a picture, hear a story,
Right.
you know, I didn't imagine in the world a family saying thank you for finding us. I didn't imagine that in the world, and yeah.
Well,
Hey.
it's dude. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It's freaking awesome. And as I told Jackie last night, I said the people you're gonna meet here and the people you're gonna meet Saturday night. You know, I grew. These things fit us all like a different kind of glove, right? Like a lot of us have something that just didn't pan out right in the way we grew up, and when we look back at how things maybe happened with us, whether it's losing a parent or whether it's being detached from a parent or whether it's not having your biological parents or things like that. And so I was explaining, bless Jackie's heart, she didn't even get to meet my mother, and I only have like memories up through when I was 7, but then the beautiful family that we just talk about, Uncle Mike and all these guys in East Coast, I was detached from them. I got pulled away from them.
Yeah.
And I grew up at the Boys Ranch, and I grew up in an institution and all these things like that. And,
I can't even imagine.
And I
Joe.
had this like same kind of disconnect, you know, but like I said, and we talked about how you gotta let go and forgive the things, the things, not just the people, but the things and the situations in your life that someone will never say they're sorry for, or you'll never get recompense for, because it just keeps you sick and it'll hold you down. And so you forgive those things in your life, and it was so freeing. And I told her, and I told Jackie last night, I said, my friends are my family. My friends are my family, which I am super content with. But then all of a sudden, she shows up.
Right.
Who is like related and attached to one of the most precious memories and parts of my life that I don't get to touch anymore.
Yep.
So if you had a relative from your pops that you and your sister and brother didn't know about, it'd be the same thing. Like, it just seems like impossible that could come up at this time of our lives, but it did.
Yeah.
And so, so while my friends are my family, your wife, sorry, are we in Utah?
Yeah,
okay,
we're in Utah.
No, okay, your wife is my sister.
Right.
She is. That's
Right.
what I think
That's
of
what I
her.
said
you
this
know?
earlier. Yeah.
And so, but but she's just as excited for me as I am.
Yeah.
You know, and so but for Jackie to show up and to know that that we have the same blood from someone that is so dear to me, and that I get to give Jackie information about and tell her about. But the part is like, Jackie's related to me. Like we have the same blood in our veins, and this is just the craziest feeling ever. And so it's just a different kind of whole and completeness that you bring with you, sweetheart. And I'm so excited you're here. And it is the best.
There it goes.
There it goes.
There it goes.
Can't do it.
Dex
All
and
right.
I are like,
There
we're
it
out.
So,
Gosh.
And
Man,
so,
I think
and
you
I have
guys
a
would
feeling
say
she's
he's getting steamy in here.
I think,
man.
And I think she's laying low,
I need the powder
but
room.
I've picked up the vibe that Jackie's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
imagine.
So we're gonna have a good time this weekend.
So wigs and syphilis, am I right? I just Googled it. It's actually true. It was syphilis,
Oh,
and it
that's
was causing
awesome,
people to lose
Dex.
their hair. And
How
because
come-
of that, they started wearing wigs.
How come they don't put that in the history books?
but
you
in
know?
part,
It's here.
but in the government, wasn't it more of like a uniformed look kind of thing going on?
No,
Kind of like they do,
but
kind
it
of like the
started
Brits
out
do.
from
Yeah.
syphilis.
Maybe that's what it turned into later on.
Baldness was
Exactly.
like a mar on who you were as
Yeah.
a person. And so these proper men were losing their hair, whether it was like just because they were getting older and baldness. But a lot of them, it's true, there was a syphilis outbreak that sparked a surge in wig making because the victims would become bald.
What's that on your head? Wig.
Yeah, dude.
But now we just got
Telling
some. I'd rather just get a tight weave. You know what I'm saying? Just blend it up.
So, King of France, King Louis the 14th, was only 17 years old when his mop started thinning out, and so that's actually really where this whole trend.
But that
is
could be
going.
genetics, not syphilis.
Yeah, I
though.
know, but what I'm saying is, it was
Right.
both. It was
Yeah,
like
he's probably
it was
born
like,
with that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was baldness, and then like the trend was alive because of
Right.
other things.
That happened.
So-
You know, dude, I knew dudes in high school that were like thinning out
me
in their
too.
hair.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you're going to be Bruce Willis in like one semester.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the only way to roll.
I
Yeah.
started in my 30s. You know, at least I had my 20s. I had
Thank
hair.
goodness for Bruce Willis, right? Because like once Die Hard came out, you know, like
Dude.
everyone who was thinning on top was like, we can do this.
Yeah, right.
We can do this.
Totally.
But there was always the people
Yeah.
just holding on to the past that
Yeah.
had that like thin top and then that wicked mullet.
Yeah.
Just like, you
Yeah.
know, oh.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so somebody wanted to know. They have a question for you. Sorry, I'm totally. Can I ask you? I know, right?
Man,
well,
yeah.
so yesterday I totally had a really gnarly mustache. I planned on keeping it, but we have a photo shoot today for the morning show, and I had
Yeah.
to shave it.
Yeah, good call.
I'm gonna show Jackie.
Oh, I've seen your creeper mustache.
No, not like this, bro.
Yeah.
It was the best.
He's got this state trooper thing that's
yeah, pretty
slash
much.
village people.
That was me 2 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's Tom Selleck all over again. Maybe some Sam Elliott. Show that guy. Okay, so
Yeah,
real,
some Sam Elliott. Just need a little salt and the pepper. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. It doesn't look real.
That's what everybody said. They thought it was fake.
That's what everybody
You
said.
chopped off like a
It
dog's
was
tail and like
amazing.
glued it.
So, real question, because people are chiming in, like freaking out on this amazing story. If you're just joining us, we have Jackie and Joey in studio, and you guys are reuniting, like getting to meet face to face for the first time in May. You guys got to talk for the first time, brother and sister. Somebody said, okay, I have to ask, how did you introduce yourself? Like, did you explain it in a way so there's not suspicion of it being a scam? Because this is something that they're currently trying to
So that
figure
probably
out.
would have been when you encountered Uncle Mike, yeah? How did that go down? So you basically called and said, hey, I'm your sister's daughter?
From experience, in leaving messages,
Yeah.
if I don't leave enough detail, people don't call me back.
Yeah, Right.
If
yeah.
it's somebody
Good
that
call.
doesn't know you, right? So I
Right.
thought, okay, I am going to leave facts and information on this message so that he can make the choice based on what I leave him, call back or not.
Yeah.
So I just said, look, I'm your sister's daughter, born in 1964. I've gotten a hold of, your number, and I would like to meet you, talk to you. And he called back like within a half hour. He was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was outside. I left a meeting and I went outside and I literally fell on my knees. I was just like crying.
My uncle's favorite phrase is, we're Italian Catholics back home. So I never knew what he was saying. He was all, oh Madonna, but he's saying, oh Madonna, the mother. And so he's like, oh Madonna, oh Madonna, and so everything was just like yelling like that. But and so he calls me, and it makes it sound like someone died. He's like, hey, Cool. He calls me Cool Breeze. He's like, CB, has anybody talked to you yet? And I'm like, oh man. And I'm like, no. He's like, I'm just gonna come out and say this. You got a sister. What? And it's that kind of news that,
right.
You don't get sad, but you're definitely like, what?
Right.
Like, what? They're like, yeah, Joe, evidently Phil. So my mother's name is Philomena Aurora.
Yeah.
They called her Angie, but he calls her Phil.
Okay.
He's all, so Phil had a daughter, and and so I'm like, oh, okay, and so we were trying to get the scoop and piece that together, and it was between the years. So my mother was put into, when she came to America, they arranged a marriage for her, and so she was married at 15.
Gosh.
Yeah, and it was not a good scene, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she got out of there at about maybe 17, 18.
Yeah.
And but when she did that, it was very kind of old school. Like my grandparents were like old school racist, right? When they heard my mom was dating a Puerto Rican. My dad, who's blonde hair, blue eyed, like, you're not bringing that black man over here. And it's like, oh my gosh, who are you people, right? And so just old school, like not quite adjusted to the times. And so, but anyway, they were just like, they told my mom, they were just like, we're not, they excommunicated her basically.
Oh, man.
So my mom was on her own, but basically living in the basement of her former mother-in-law. Do I have that right? Is it, whose mom was she? She was staying with someone.
She was staying with a man named Jerry Brown.
Okay.
Who wants a DNA test from me. He won't meet me for coffee until I take one.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, she was living in his mother's basement.
Okay. So and my mother's previous husband, who's kind of like the Christian term for it would be like douchebag, I think. But
yeah,
I
was thinking
that's
of
what we
something
would
else,
say
but
in
we
church.
we don't want to say.
We want
it.
to just censor it for church.
Yeah.
So he, hey, come on, man. There's other choices. So he refused to do any kind of like paternal test or anything without a court order, right?
That's crazy.
And that you'd have to pay for. He like wouldn't even talk to you or do anything without the courts. Do I got that part right?
Yeah.
And so, good thing is that Uncle Mike, who is like again the mailman, knows the whole place.
Yeah.
He sees her and he's like, "Oh no, you're not this guy's daughter."
Yeah,
which is a
yeah.
huge like. And and adjust me if I'm speaking incorrectly. And she was like, "That's fine by me. I'm not pushing through paying for like some kind of test if this guy's a jerk anyway."
Yeah.
But yeah, my Uncle Mike was like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
So she looks more like my uncle's. Like my uncle's kind of like looks very different than my mom.
Okay.
So he's kind of like got the little bit darker gene and just and so she definitely looks more like on my Uncle Mike's side.
That's cool.
Of the family, but yeah. So is that would you say that's accurate on how that went down?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Please correct it.
Now let's get this timeline straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
The arranged marriage.
Okay.
She evaded him.
Okay.
She took off. She was like in hiding.
Okay.
Man.
Okay.
At 15?
Right. Yeah.
There was some possibly abusive stuff going on there.
Yes, because she had our older brother Jimmy during that time.
Right. Well, she took off without
Who's in
Jimmy.
jail.
Okay.
Well, we don't want to talk about Jimmy.
Yeah, we don't talk about Jimmy.
Okay. Now, see, I wasn't going to say the J word, but you.
No,
you
I've
already
seen
brought
him.
it out.
We've interacted.
Yeah.
just
we're all J's.
That's true.
Yeah.
All J's.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that time of hiding, when the family had kind of disowned her, they wouldn't let her take Jimmy. She took off.
Right.
Met this Jerry Brown.
Okay.
Stayed in his mom's basement.
Like 11 on Stranger Things or something like that, just like stashed under there.
I don't know,
Okay.
but obviously there was some love there.
Okay.
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 Because he was like stashing her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was looking out for her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then she got pregnant with me.
Okay.
Listing him as the father.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He won't have coffee with me.
Interesting.
Unless I do a DNA test.
Why do all those guys got to be jerks?
Right?
Right. Okay.
Because it's clear that he's clearly the one. But it
Okay.
doesn't matter. You
Okay,
know, I don't want to
I've
have
never met
coffee
or
with
heard of
him if
him.
he doesn't want to have coffee with me. So,
Okay.
right. So then a few years later, she meets your father, Butch.
She was 20. So she was 19 when she had you.
me.
Met my father at 22.
Right.
Well, she's still kind of on the outs with the family.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, so one thing, and it's one thing I shared with Jackie is one thing I can tell for sure. And my pops is coming in tomorrow, right?
Yes,
yeah,
I didn't
dude.
know this.
Who's the
I
best?
can't wait to meet him.
He is the best.
the very
He's hilarious
best.
and
Yes.
the best.
Yes, he is the best.
But the
I
thing that
love
I
Manny
the
so
thing
much.
that I was happy to share with was that, you know, that while my mom had gone through some pretty hard times, you know, definitely we, you know, as Jackie explained to me, you know, had her under a stressful or duress or some rough situations.
Yeah.
And but things did, even though our mom passed of cancer, like things did get better for her. My dad, her meeting my dad
Was
cherished
the best thing
her,
for her, yes.
and it was like she led. You know, the rest of the year she had was not the struggle that it was. She was not. Things did get better for her, you know, and unfortunately, you know, she got sick and we lost her. But having a closed adoption, you know, one thing my dad was explaining and also Heidi's mom was explaining is that you were born premature.
I was
3
I was
pounds?
like 3 pounds and sick.
And so if you have like set up like a closed adoption already pre-advance, you have a baby. Baby's not looking like baby's
Right.
3 pounds, not looking like baby's gonna make it.
Yeah.
They're not gonna call you and tell you. They take the baby away, and that's it.
Wow.
They're not gonna call you and say, "Oh, hey, by the way, the baby you gave up for adoption, she pulled through,
Right.
and
Right.
she's okay." Like so.
And I spent months in an incubator.
Yeah, and so
Months.
so when I was running it by my dad, you know, while my dad didn't know a ton about it, my dad knew that she had lost a baby, but it didn't even come across like he was like, you know, she wasn't lying. Like that's
Right.
what she believed,
Right.
and she had every reason to because again, they're not going to tell her,
No.
you know, and so she didn't. Because my mom's the type that would have been like, "What?"
Right.
You know, and gone and like, you know,
Yeah.
try to find this out, and so it was a very, very like tough situation
Yeah.
for me. But it's beautiful for me, and it's beautiful to tell Jackie, to let her know that that redemption and beautiful things came to my mother's life after that, you know, and I know she would count you as one of those things, you know. I just know it. And so it's really cool. It's really cool. So not that I have tons of photos of her, thanks to my family East Coast, I do. And then my dad has a bunch. And so we have a box of photos we're going to go through this weekend. And she's going to leave here, not just with
That's
love,
gotta be exciting,
but
right?
with heritage
Yeah.
and with
Just get the tissues ready, girl.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Dude, get the tissues ready.
And so on a less like emotional note, how are you with like spicy food,
Oh,
Jackie?
I love spicy
Because
food.
it's
I love
all-
extra spicy Korean.
Oh,
I'm
dude.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. Okay.
Dude.
You're going to try some spicy this weekend. that's
Okay,
for sure.
very,
It's-
very good. I
Oof.
have to try some spicy while I'm here.
Now it's not like necessarily jalapeno spicy. Like
No.
it's different because we have our own pepper that was kind of created here in New Mexico. It's like a hybrid of like a jalapeno and a something else, right? They
As
made
long
it
as
down
it's
at
not a
steak.
ghost pepper because
No.
that
No,
overpowers.
no.
All right,
Yeah.
No, this is
green-
flavorful.
This is like
That's what I
really
wanna
good
hear.
green chili. Like you're gonna have to try that.
But it's only kind of here, right? You step
Yeah.
outside the border and people are like, what?
Yeah, or green chili in other places is just not. It's
So
not
when-
right.
So when we say
Yeah.
green chili, we're not talking about like the chili on chili dogs that like
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
This is like
kinda
chili
like-
peppers.
Yeah.
But they're
like
not.
Thai green.
Thai is really hot. So this can be hot, but it's got a much more of a nice, like there's a mild version. So you can say, how's the chili today? And people tell you, oh, it's mild today, or this roast is hot, but it just has a flavor that just makes things amazing. And it comes in red or green. And so if you're from here, you usually want a little bit of both. So you'd be like, I'll take it Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So you get a little bit of each.
That's good.
Yeah. But yeah, so she's gonna get all that this weekend.
Jackie, do you watch This Is Us? Have you ever seen that TV show?
I have seen it.
Do you cry every time?
I don't know.
You
I like
listening to y'all's story. I'm like, this is a TV show.
Aw.
Like this is crazy. It's awesome.
It definitely was surreal when that day when we talked on the radio. Just the fact that it happened on the radio, and I just remember being so nervous. And we were talking. There was people on the Starmy.
He ditched me like the whole next hour. He was like sitting in this chair crying.
I couldn't talk on the radio
He
anymore.
couldn't do it, and
but
I'm like,
people on the Starmy were freaking out. They were like, everyone was from like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I gotta go to the bathroom. And there was some people that were like, don't do this. Don't do this on the radio. This could go south. And there was some people like, if this is a trick, if this is one of your
Right?
guys' funny pranks, which
No,
we do,
dude. Yeah.
it's like
Not
this is
like
going to be
that,
really
though.
right. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, man,
That
how
would be
bad do you
messed up.
think we are?
I
Like we're
know,
not.
right?
We do like some funny jokes, and I've called in some voices, but
Yeah.
this is. I was like,
yeah.
no, this is real.
you guys have a little bit of morals and
Yes.
ethics.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is when I was filling in for Dex. And man, dude, let me just tell you, people love you, Dex.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know
Because
about
the
that.
whole time I was filling in for you, everyone hated me.
Okay.
I'm serious. They were just like, hey, that's pretty funny. When's Dex coming back? Right? And I'm like, and I'd have to keep saying, like, dude, I'm not replacing Dex. I'm just here helping out a bro. He's on a well-deserved break.
And let me
Kicking it
say,
with Uncle
you know,
Jimmy
let me-
in jail.
Let me tell you,
Jeez.
thank you for doing that for me because I know how hard that must have been.
Dude,
And,
everyone
yeah.
was giving me crap.
I'm
They were just
sorry,
like,
man.
they
Thank
hated
you.
me, dude.
You
They
didn't know that,
hated me.
did you?
What? Oh no, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
all
Wait,
right.
that's where he's at. Wait.
Quite possibly, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking
No,
about?
we were just, nah.
Yeah.
What?
We were having a
we were having a
sidebar.
side-
You
yes.
see, I'm a bad sidebar person.
Yeah.
And I get in trouble for it all the
Oh,
time.
me
so,
too.
And
Yeah.
then, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Saturday's going to be real great.
I'm working on
You
it.
guys talking.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Real
the best
great.
part. That's gonna be the best part. Gosh, this has been incredible.
But I mean, I have to. We both are just so thankful to this station. We did figure out the links that you changed the names on yesterday, so I reposted that.
Nice.
That was a bad scene, but we got it.
Yeah,
we,
that's good. That's
we,
good.
we reshared it out, and and it's just been. And man, if it wasn't, I mean, it would have happened. We would have connected. But there was just something about sharing it with the listeners here, sharing it with you guys, getting it to do it here, and then for us to come full circle, to come back here.
Yeah.
And then you have the most beautiful
And to say thank you
supporters
to
Press and Heart. Like,
Yes.
it's one of your supporters here.
Yeah.
They don't know us from Adam.
Right.
And
That
Eve.
was
And
thank
yet
you so
They
much
just
for
blanketly said, we would love to
flying
have
me.
your sister come out and meet you, and don't even worry about
Isn't that
it.
incredible?
Yeah.
And we
That
tried to
was
drag him
amazing.
in to come
That
and
was
really good
amazing.
people.
come to like the party and stuff. They're like, no. They don't. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna not say anything. They don't want like any credit. They don't
Right.
want like any. And it's like, well, it's not. It's not like a sponsor. It's like, thank you for providing a sister into my
Right?
life,
Yeah.
Press and Heart. you
Yeah.
know?
That's cool.
And so
Dude.
we were just floored by the kindness.
Yeah.
Of the people listening to this station and the empathy and the compassion and the care and how people were just kind of took a extra step and went above and beyond, which I know you guys see all the time.
Yeah.
But for me,
But
not
it's
being here
still-
for so long and
Yeah.
and just stepping in for that bit and having just an event that is unprecedented in my life and in her life too, and it's just like. and to have people that we don't know say, that was beautiful, and we want to bless you. That's crazy.
It's always dope when you see Christians actually reflecting Christ,
right?
When they're actually like for real. You know what I mean? Because too often you see like somebody proclaiming Jesus and then living however, but when you see a servant who is like compassionate and giving and just generous and loving
no pomp and circumstance.
Right,
they didn't want like some big old van with their logo there or something.
Yeah.
It was, and never did they? Like I have to drag it out of them and say, please, can I thank you some way? You know, and so I don't know. You have the most amazing supporters. I just have to say, it's pretty
really
cool, man.
Shout out those guys. It's incredible. I love it. Love it, man. So, man, you guys.
Dude, thank you guys for coming in and sharing that.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.
People are chiming in with places you guys need to go already, like places to eat in Santa Fe and different.
So did we talk about this a little bit, Jackie? Like, did you watch all of Breaking Bad?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so
twice over.
So you don't. Okay, so we don't have to do like the cheesy Breaking Bad tour because it's pretty much like all by our houses.
Yeah, and I was gonna say now Walter White's house, like you can still recognize it, but they finally just put up like walls and stuff.
And they painted it.
Tourists got so bad. People kept throwing pizzas on their roof. Like these are people still live there, and so. Yeah, it's not.
There's some good spots.
Every Wednesday, I do a thing called Travel the World, and I YouTube a travel video for the residents, and they get to pick wherever they wanted to go. Well, they asked me to choose the other week, and I chose to come do a tour and show them Albuquerque. And we ended up taking the
Breaking Bad
tour,
Cool.
and it was a fellow with a GoPro in his RV, and he took us to all the spots
And so you're sharing.
He doesn't jerk the camera around.
This with the nursing home community people.
Yeah.
So they got to be just kind of the coolest people.
Oh, they're
that
awesome.
you're like hanging out with.
Sure.
Did you have to explain to them like about like meth and stuff though?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
See, there it is. It's not just New Mexico.
Right.
It's universal.
I think it's just a universal thing.
Yeah.
So, but we'll go to the car wash. It's right by my place. We'll go get some rock candy that looks like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll go and check out some things, you know. But I'm looking forward. Dex absolutely didn't. If you can make it Saturday night, my house.
Thanks,
6:30.
All right.
Yeah.
Be there. We're having a get together at my house.
I'll post the address.
Yeah,
on
please
Facebook.
don't. It's a private party, so please refrain.
Oh man, incredible! Yeah, dude. Of course, it's gonna be amazing.
We're excited.
There it is.
All right.
Jackie, anything else to say?
Love you, Steve-O.
Love you. Oh my god.
Nice to meet you, Dex.
Nice to meet you too. So excited for you. Glad you got to share this. And share it with the Starmy, too. I mean,
know,
that's
right?
incredible. And I bet you there's so many people out there that are thinking about going to find.
Yeah, I mean,
this
is kind of giving me perspective, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Anybody out there doing it, do it.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I mean, Steve-O's dad flew like planes, like drug running planes.
This is actually true.
There's a possibility. There's a possibility.
No, you joke. Oh, just wait till we turn
There's
these
a possibility.
mics off. Okay. Yeah.
We'll help you, brother. I'm there for you.
There you go.
Wow.
There it is.
Jackie, thanks for
That's a
meeting my
story.
family here.
Yeah.
Awesome family.
This radio station's my family too.
pretty
You know.
much.
Thanks, Joey.
So, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll be right back. We're live from the Dreamstar Remodeling Star 88 studio.
Do you believe God wants to engage you in a personal relationship? Or is that just wishful thinking? Not according to James McDonald. Listen up.
It's a very sobering passage if you understand it. These are people who were exposed to the truth, who understood the gospel, but in the end, they did not truly believe, and they turned away. Please note, the decision to refuse grace eventually brings eternal consequences that every person on earth should fear. Won't believe, then can't believe. Too late. In order that all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure. I don't want to leave my sin. Love the forgiveness, hate the holiness.
Nothing restores your soul quite like listening to God's still small voice. To discover how to hear him speak through his word, check out the helpful resources at jamesmcdonald.com. Listen Up is a production of Walk in the Word.
Pastor Jack Graham and a Star 88 Supernova.
God is looking for men and women, people who are willing to steadfastly give their whole hearts to him. Paul did. He said in Philippians 1:21, for to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Jesus called us to max out when he said, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you. Matthew 6:33. If we're going to become successful in the Christian life, it means putting Christ first and living radically for him. Now, some people don't like the idea of being a radical. We don't want to be seen as a freak, a Jesus freak, or a fool.
Catch Pastor Jack Graham, PowerPoint, broadcast weekdays at 10:30 a.m. on our sister station, KNKT.
Through that open door, not in the things I usually look for. My mystery got me intrigued, fascinated, captivated. I'm amazed by all that you are. Uncontrollable emotion, all your love exposing my heart. Yeah, this is something about you. I'm better when I'm around you. Can't get enough of the way you light up every room. You got me singing and shouting. I can't stop talking about you. Wish I could explain the way that you do what you do. Yeah, this is something about you. Your gentle voice, I hear it breaking through the loudest noise. It's ringing through me, feeling every void. I overflow, one thing I know. Fascinated, captivated, I'm amazed by all that you are. Uncontrollable emotion, all your love exposing my heart. Yeah, this is something about you. I'm better when I'm around you. Can't get enough of the way you light up every room. You got me singing and shouting. I can't stop talking about you. Wish I could explain the way that you do what you do. There's just something about you. There's just something about you. There's just something about you. When I'm with you, every single day is brand new. Brand new, brand new. When I'm with you, every single day is brand new. Brand new, brand new. Yeah, there's just something about you. I'm better when I'm around you. Can't get enough of the way you light up every room. Yeah, there's just something about you. I'm better when I'm around you. Can't get enough of the way you light up every room. You got me singing and shouting. I can't stop talking about it. Wish I could explain the way that you do what you do. There's just something about you. There's just something about you. There's just something
This is Star 88 at 88.3 FM, KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and online at star88.fm.
I was waiting for morning, for the rising sun, in the place of decision where it hadn't come. Then I saw the horizon, Lord, I heard your voice. You became my vision, and you became my song. In the darkest night, in the middle of the fight, when there is no light, you are my champion. When the world's at war and the oceans roar, I know we'll be extravagant goodness that you showed me. I will sing forever of your saving grace. I will shout in battle, my God is in this place. In the darkest night, in the middle of a fight, when there is no light, you are my champion. When the world's at war and the oceans roar, I know it won't be long. You are my champion. In the darkest night, in the middle of the fight, when there is no light, you are my champion. When the world's at war and the oceans roar, I know it won't be long. You are my champion. In the darkest night, in the middle of the fight, when there is no light, you are my champion. When the world's at war and the oceans roar, I know it won't be long, 'cause you are my champion. Yes, you are my champion. You are my champion. You are my champion. You are my champion.
The Morning Invasion. Be right back after this.
When you're feeling like a lost cause and your voice cannot be heard, when your heart takes a beating from the fist of heartless words, don't you give up on the world now, 'cause there will be brighter days. You're hiding all the bruises on your heart. The bruises on what make you who you are. You're a treasure in a broken world. Who you are, who you are. You shine brighter than a billion stars. Who you are, who you are. In a world where the truth is confusing, you are more than your scars and your bruises. You
Morning Invasion with Dax and Steve-O.
It's like my heart is trying to hug my brain.
I never heard of it.
Come on now.
Welcoming to the Morning Invasion, live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. His name is The Swan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got my morning voice on.
Sam Swan, everybody.
It is so great to be with you.
Man, I think it's been, what, a month?
I
3 or 4 weeks since I've seen you?
Because I've been out of town.
Yeah.
And you were not here last week.
No, I was
So I
sick.
sort of co-hosted. I came in an hour early and co-hosted, which was a
appreciate
blast.
that.
I mean, unfortunately, I had to co-host because you weren't here. But when I get to play the rare role of co-host, dude, that's a blast for me. Rather than I told Brenda when I got home, I was like, instead of just being the guest this morning, I was the co-host.
Well, what are you doing Monday morning? I think I might take that off.
Okay.
Oh, cool. That's my birthday. You bleep.
I mean,
I just bleeped myself.
Wow.
Don't. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Steve
Getting better at
just
it.
self-dumped.
Preemptive bleeps.
That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a radio self-dump there.
That's right. There were 3
If
days
anybody
away.
gets Monday off, it's going to be me. So I don't have
That's
to
true.
deal with anything.
All right, well, whichever one of you take the day off. Well, no, wait. Monday's the executive board meeting. I can't.
Yeah,
well.
Excuse me, the mission board meeting.
Gotcha.
It's not the executive board. It's the mission board.
So, what's new? We haven't caught up or anything. Anything happening?
Yeah,
in your
I
world?
just I finished 3 weeks of camp.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of kids got saved. A bunch of kids renewed their commitment to the Lord. A handful surrendered to vocational ministry, which is kind of a surrendering to vocational ministry is kind of a thing that people don't talk about a lot anymore. But we need full-time pastors and youth pastors and worship pastors and children's ministry folks. And unless somebody responds to the call of God, we don't think God stopped calling people. We just think we're not talking in the church, at least in Baptist circles, we're not talking about it as much as we used to.
Yeah.
And so we're not offering that opportunity. And it's not only that, not just local church in America type stuff, but even like international missionaries to go.
Yeah.
That's a vocational call to leave your homeland and go and share the gospel in a place that maybe in some of the places where we have folks serving, there's not very many Christians at all.
Yeah.
In fact, a friend of mine, he and his wife have been, there's our mission board, our international mission board, we call it the International Mission Board for folks that are overseas. And it's this group of folks that's where they get their salary, and that's how the cooperative program pays for all that stuff. And it's an amazing thing that the Southern Baptists set up years and years and years ago. And so these friends of mine, Randy and Joan Bell, they're actually New Mexicans, native New Mexicans, and they serve in Slovenia.
Ooh.
The town of Volhynia, Slovenia, where they live.
And Dracula.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man.
0.075% of the population of the city where they live, which is about 3 million people, lost.
Wow.
I'm sorry, saved. There's only 0.075 Christians there.
Oh, okay.
So everybody, there's like 1,000. I'm terrible at math, but there are not very many believers.
That's pretty small.
And so they went there to plant a church, and God's already, affecting the area greatly through the ministry that they have. So all that to say that when we do camp, when we ask the camp pastor, of course. I mean, I would never have a camp pastor who's going to preach Bible studies. Preach sermons during the week without presenting the gospel.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And the guys that I come in are going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So I really don't even have to tell them because I know they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Present the gospel, challenge the believing students to respond to God in a way maybe they haven't yet so far, and then also put a challenge out there to think about maybe God has called you to vocational ministry. Not everybody's called to vocational ministry. We are all called to be ministers.
Sure.
We are all called to spread the gospel and to be missionaries wherever we are. Absolutely. But there are some, and it's not a special calling, it's just a different calling. To serve vocationally in the church, where that's your job, to be a pastor or whatever.
One of the coolest things that I got to be a part of when I look back on my life of almost 39 years.
So old,
I was involved with missions at Sagebrush for about 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were going down to Juarez, Mexico. We were going to the Middle East. And that was some of the best moments, some of the best times of my life was going on mission trips.
Really good food.
I mean, Yeah, sure.
Especially in the Middle
Sometimes
East.
not so good.
Yeah.
But I mean, Juarez, Mexico, in the middle of the summer, it's 115 degrees. There's no air conditioning.
It's
You
not-
take bucket showers.
Yes.
It's a third world country. And here's us Americans who've never experienced it. And we got to take teams of kids and adults down there
Yeah.
that have never experienced it. And to see what God did to your heart was incredible.
Yeah.
And to see how people worship in other countries compared to us.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it if you go to your church and just ask about the missions and get involved. You have to go.
Some of the amazing things about doing those, what we call short-term mission opportunities, one of the benefits of that, like an unintentional benefit of that, is that somebody will go and God calls them to be a vocational missionary out of that. And they end up going to school. Then they end up going and getting commissioned, and then they
I feel
end
like
up
that's
going
what you kind of should do before you go, you know what? I'm just going for it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just, go on
Check it out.
Go on a mission trip.
Because sometimes it's difficult for us to discern God's specific will as far as area of ministry or direction of ministry or, what we should do. And so there's nothing wrong with checking things out. Serve in the children's area for a little while. You may find out, hey, I'm not really gifted at hanging out with children, but you might be a really gifted middle school small group leader.
Yep.
As you serve in the small group ministry of the middle school or whatever.
Exactly.
Or you go and you serve missions, and God just plants that in your heart.
Yep.
I'm giving you a heart for the nations, and boom, they go.
Yeah, and there's this feeling that I would always get when I was down in Mexico. It was because when we were going down, it was the darkest times.
Yeah.
I mean, when the cartels were just killing. I mean, they still
I was
are.
living in
but
Cruces at that time.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it was awful.
I had friends here that had family. Mom and dad lived across the border from El Paso, and they were like, "What are you doing? I don't even go and visit my parents. What do you think?" We'd cross the border, and the Border Patrol in Mexico would look at us Americans and go, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are you guys coming across?" They were confused.
Yeah.
And I mean, the tourists, there's no tourism anymore down there. I mean, it's almost completely died.
Yeah.
And so, but I can't even explain to you the feeling and the protection that I felt.
Yeah.
I felt so safe. Like the safest I've ever felt.
Yeah.
I felt more safe down there than I do here.
Wow.
I can't even describe
I mean,
it.
that's not saying.
It's,
It's New Mexico.
It's New Mexico. But
lock your cars.
I mean, it's so incredible, man, and the friendships and the relationships. To this day, it's been I don't know 7-8 years since I've visited some of I call them family.
Yeah.
And I think about and pray about them every day.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just I can't even tell you how amazing it is.
Our boy Looper chimed in and said, I went on a mission trip to Mexico, took my older daughters with me. They were building homes. It was in a dump, literally in a dump landfill. And the homes that we built were basically the size of a shed for us here. It was pretty eye-opening to see what people down there live with and how they live as opposed to us here.
Just 3.5 hours down the road.
Yeah.
Third world country.
Yeah, not far at all. There was an interesting thing. We went down to Reynosa, Mexico, which is across from McAllen, Texas, which is way deep south Texas. And so we did, when I was in Cruces, we took a group over there. There was a children's home that we went and stayed on their compound and did stuff with the children's home and went to a church, a local church there in Reynosa, and did like a VBS kind of thing, and then did stuff around the compound, painting, building stuff, working on stuff for this children's home, which is for like orphans or at least kids with issues down in Reynosa. So while we're down there, we're having a good time and meeting everybody, and it was a glorious time of service, and I had somewhere I was going with this story. The guy at the compound, we came from Las Cruces, so we're not far from Juarez. We know border town stuff. We've seen it a bunch. If you live in Cruces or El Paso, you experience that. You see that. There's even places in Las Cruces, believe it or not, that look a little bit like Juarez.
Sure.
It's all over. There's some of those places here in Albuquerque too, on the outskirts of Albuquerque. So anyway, the guy who's from Chicago who went to Mexico and set up this children's home thing, he says, y'all need to come and see some of the poverty. And there were two groups. There was a group from Missouri and then our group from Las Cruces. And so he's taking us and we're taking this little tour through the neighborhood and looking at, and our kids, the Las Cruces kids, are like, we see this all the time. We're not shocked by this.
Sure.
the kids from Missouri were like, we've never seen anything like this before. And that, to me, that was an interesting sort of a dynamic to be a part of, to see people that, I mean, I know there's poverty in Missouri, but whether they see it or not. Whereas out here, for some reason, it's, you know, you can turn a corner and there's a neighborhood that's completely different, or subdivision that's completely different than what you just experienced. You know, opposite whatever.
Yeah,
it is an interesting dynamic, and it just struck me.
And it makes you think too, because you know, I get the whole border patrol thing, and I believe that you should come over here legally. You should be coming over here. When you go over to Mexico and you see what people and how people are living, it's insane. And I understand why they would come over here. I mean, our country is. I mean, you can come over here and get a job.
There's greater opportunity. Absolutely.
If you have a dream, that's what our country is all about. To fulfill those dreams. You can do whatever you want, and so I get it. I understand. You go across the border, and it's different, man. Jobs. There's you can't leave the house because you're scared of getting shot. I mean, it's a different world. So I totally understand. I recommend you have to go. You have to go on a mission trip and really see, because I'll never forget too, the first time I went on a mission trip, I felt so guilty coming back home. Coming back to America, it was almost like the streets were gold compared to where I was at. It was like, man, I'm sick to my stomach. I'm leaving these people down here that live, but they almost seemed happier than we were. They had less, but they were happier.
One of my girls in my youth group in Carlsbad, when she went off to college, she went to New Mexico State, and the Christian Challenge, the campus ministry, the Baptist campus ministry there at New Mexico State, we have them all over and all of our universities in New Mexico, but she went to New Mexico State, obviously, and got plugged in, and that's one of the things they do is they do summertime stuff for like 6-8 weeks. Emily went 2 years in a row, my daughter Emily. So she comes back after her first summer of international missions like that. And I said, well, how was it? And she said, well, and there's this debrief. You have to go through, there's this time where you have to kind of re-enter. They call it re-entry. And when you come back to America, there's a little bit of a reverse culture shock. And so I said, well, what do you think? She goes, we are spoiled and rich. And we don't help enough. And I was like, well, yes, don't be bitter, but yes, I'm glad your eyes were open to that. But that struck me also that she was exposed to some things. She went to East Asia, and she just saw some things that she never would have seen here had she not traveled. Not that it doesn't exist here. We just are easy. It's easier for us to kind of ignore it here. But you can't ignore it in some places. When you go to Juarez, you can't ignore it. It's right there in front of you. Same with Reynosa.
Isn't it weird, like, ignoring it here, though? Because you'd think we would want to build
better
better
pay attention.
communities. It's like, this is your community. This is where you live. Invest
and
here.
And actually, that generation,
build that up.
She's probably about you guys' age. That generation pays more attention now to local stuff than the previous folks did. Folks in my generation and before.
I saw something on my mailbox this week when I went out there that kind of threw me for a loop, and I'm not even being funny. There was a flyer, and one of our neighbors is throwing a giant picnic this weekend just to meet the neighbors.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time, like in our neighborhood, or, like in neighborhoods, you hear people going like, I just want to hang out. Right. Yeah, I just want to hang out. I want to invest here, and I want to get to know the people around me. And they're providing all the food and everything, and I'm just going, that's awesome.
That's a great idea.
That's cool. We'll be at baseball, so I won't be there.
Wait. One of our neighbors across the street would do that occasionally.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
What a novel concept.
And, there's that sense of community down across the border as well, even more so than here in some parts. What's sad is it's the opposite in some areas where they won't leave their house, because it's so dangerous.
It is dangerous.
And partly is it because, like, for our culture anyways, like, I think of Jack, my 14-year-old, and when we were off air, Brodus, Joey was talking about the fact that his daughter Maggie and my son Jack, they play video games together every day on the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And so is it that we don't feel we need to get involved because we're not getting out? Not due to fear, but just because of convenience. We're just like,
I think so.
They see each other every day. They just play video games. Yeah, they're constantly talking. Like I told this story a couple days ago. Luke, we were getting ready for bed. Jack was spending the night out. Luke was playing Fortnite, and I went in there to tell him it was time for bed, and he's on his headset, and he goes, hey, Jack, I got to go to bed, last match.
Talking to his brother.
And I'm going, wait, is that Jack Jeter? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, give me that headset. Jack Jeter, you get your butt in bed. You go to bed.
Yeah. That's right.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, but he's like at a sleepover, like hanging out with his brother online. And I'm just like, wow, man.
It's a different world as far as that's concerned.
It really is.
Well, we're so comfortable, man.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. Is like I was saying, in America, if you have a dream, you're able to go after that dream. If you put hard work, sweat and tears into what you want, you can accomplish and achieve that dream.
Yeah.
In Mexico and other parts of the world, man, it's different because they have to worry about finding food. How am I going to feed my family? They can't focus on their dreams.
So we have a question on short-term mission trip. They said, can you guys shed some light on the negative things we hear about mission trips having a negative impact? Is that a contrived script by others to dissuade potential goers, or is there some truth to
I need some more specifics.
Right?
I don't know what that means.
Impact. Like what? Negative on the culture?
I drank the water and I got sick.
Right.
That's really the only thing I could think of is that happening to you. But if you have a good team of people and you have a good a mission down where wherever you're going, that's what's important.
I think maybe what they're referring to is that there are some folks that I've read. I've not read the entire article, but they'll come out and say things, the negative impact that short-term missions has on the place where you go.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is if it's like a one-time thing. Like say my church goes to Reynosa one time and we never ever go back there and partner with that ministry again.
Wow.
That could have an adverse effect. So what we look for in our circles is we look for partnerships.
Exactly.
Somebody that we will continually go and either continue to invest money and time or somehow we stay connected with those partnerships.
That's, and when I was with Sagebrush, it was the same thing. It was a partnership.
Yeah, the one-time thing where you just kind of one and done, that is not necessarily helpful. It makes us feel better, but it doesn't necessarily.
I have an article from Share Faith magazine that's got 5 reasons your short-term mission trip could be doing more harm than good.
And as before, who is Share Faith magazine?
I mean,
I'd like to know their background.
Oh, come on, bro. They're
okay, but what
kind
do
of
they
faith
say?
They got a gold medal for Worship Leader magazine in 2017.
Okay.
See, I'm glad you laughed.
Well, that's
because
something
I'm like,
I don't have.
Listen, bro, I just Googled.
Have you? Did you say, Steve-O, were you on a mission trip?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I have never been on a mission trip.
Sam and I, we have, so we'll be able to speak.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Number one, the possible negative effects, how they could be doing more harm. Misunderstanding the culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they say it's probably the broadest, most damaging aspect of a short-term mission trip is misunderstanding the culture. Not referring to like the surface of culture aspects, but food, manners, dress, smells, sights, value systems, worldviews. So
when I went to the Middle East, it was debriefing before we went, and I have tattoos.
Right.
So they made me wear long sleeve shirts because it was a culture thing.
Right.
They look down upon people that have tattoos,
Yeah.
you know? And then of course, we couldn't say words like church,
Right.
because the churches there in the Middle East, they're underground.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had to be careful with the language that you're using. But yeah, you always want, and of course, if people offer you food, you always accept it.
Yeah.
It's very disrespectful to.
Yeah.
That's what one person said. The negative could be that we as Americans do not respect other countries, and that was part of the first one.
Absolutely. So there has to be
a carefree teenager unknowingly walking upon a gravesite or committing a serious offense in the mind of a national, and
so we try. Now, we can't prevent everything, but we want to take people wherever we go. We want to be culturally prepared and sensitive to what's going on, because the issue that we have too is we don't. At least in my mind, I never wanted to, I didn't want to go to Reynosa and do American things for the Mexican people that live there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to do stuff that helped them where they live.
Yeah.
And I just happen to be an American. So we have to be very careful about. We don't want to go to Africa and plant an American church. We want to go and equip indigenous people in Africa to plant a native church, an African church, because that's the people that need to hear about Jesus are the people in their village or in their community or whatever. So cultural sensitivity is a big issue. If it's not done, if it's not done ahead of time, then it can cause some issues.
Somebody's there's so many things, but one of them was a bewildering financial value system. The idea they say, let's say 10 teenagers spend $2,000 each to go to Mexico for a couple weeks or something. So $20,000 costs about $1,400 per day for the team to stay in Mexico with all of these people. What do? Host VBS, maybe paint a church building. But to the Mexican believer, they're not ignorant to the cost. They're using this fancy iPhone to take pictures of their cute mission trip and all these things. And these are people who are living on $3 a day and watching our skewed financial value system. And I'm like, yeah, it's a stretch.
I
think it's a stretch.
Yeah.
But
because it's not like they don't see other.
Right.
I mean, it's not like they don't know that stuff's available.
Another one was a warped view of missions. Short-term mission trips, sometimes they don't offer an accurate perspective of the life of a true missionary.
Yeah, that could be true.
Yeah, there's many things that just can't be grasped.
Yeah,
during
that's why a
10-day
partnership
visit.
is important, because the missionary can not only if a group goes and partners with a missionary that's in country.
Yeah.
To help them out, but also the missionary will educate them on some of this is the stuff we face every day. This is the kind of stuff we go through every day, which is kind of what I experienced when I went to Israel, and I went to the Western Wall on the night of the beginning of the Sabbath and saw all those Jews praying and worshiping God. That had huge impact on me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Rather than me, just saying, you stubborn Jews, you don't recognize Jesus as the Messiah, my heart was broken for them.
Yeah.
Because they were worshiping the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yeah.
They were worshiping God the Father.
Sure. Right.
Anyway, that's somewhat related.
The person that chimed in with that question, by the way, just said this is exactly the type of thing I'm referring to.
Okay.
Missions that make us feel like we checked a box.
Right.
Or caused a bump in our spiritual ego, but didn't actually do anything to spread the gospel long term.
Yeah.
So,
and I would say that.
Well, let me just say, spread the gospel long term. Let me just comment on that. When you share the gospel, that's long term, because we don't know what God is going to do with the seed that we plant. So anytime you speak the truth of the gospel, we are sinners separated from God. Jesus came and took our place on the cross. He died in our place, like I just said.
Yeah.
He was resurrected, proving God's power over death and the grave. When we share the good news of that with somebody, that has eternal value.
Right.
Yep.
That is not a short-term thing. That is that we don't know what God's going to do with the words that we share about that. So just one little.
Talking about, do we have an impact with, wherever we're going, on the village or the community there? I think a lot of it is the impact on us personally. The Americans that go and experience that, there was such a change in me.
Yeah, it opens our eyes.
Oh, my gosh.
Absolutely.
It made me understand, and it made me closer to God, And, and then maybe it's that person, like you were saying, Sam, that, goes on a mission trip and then realizes this is my calling.
Right.
And
we're
taking
it could be
God,
a danger. It could be a danger.
It can, but we're excluding God. And in that argument, we're excluding God from the equation. Not you, but what that argument is saying is excluding the supernatural from the equation. Because if there's one verse that Chip has instilled in me, it's Isaiah 55:11.
Yeah.
And that is that the word that goes out will not return empty. It will not return void. It will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. That's the Lord.
Yeah.
And so if we are going out and it's the bubblegum teenager who's stepping on things and being, we don't know. We don't know. But we do know that if God makes a promise in his word, I can trust God. I can trust his character. I can trust his word. And if his word says, hey, this is going to go out and it's never going to return empty, I'm going to put money that it's not going to return empty.
Yeah.
We take way too much credit for the work of God's Spirit in people's lives. We take way too much credit.
Seriously.
Way too much credit.
Yeah.
I act like an idiot on a morning show. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, man alive. So maybe that's why, thankfully, and just know that it's definitely God, because I say some really idiotic things and people come back and go, man, that really blessed me today.
I know.
That really caused me to reflect on this and that and the other. And I'm going, well, that was the Lord. Because I am an idiot.
Some of the worst sermons of my life. And I step off the platform thinking, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
And then like
I'm
somebody
gonna go
comes up and
work
they're
on a
like,
radio
my
program.
life was transformed.
And they say, that sermon really spoke to me. God convicted me of some sort of a sin because of what you said. And I was like, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Lord did drop.
1 Corinthians 15:58 says, "Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always excelling in the Lord's work, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain."
Yeah, man.
That tells me that the results are not up to us,
Yeah.
and that just by speaking the word of the truth of the gospel into somebody's life, we don't know the kind of value that has later on.
Right.
Yeah.
So the eternal impact that it
So
might have.
here's something interesting. So the article talks about like 5 reasons that short-term mission trips could do harm, but then in the conclusion is, listen, short-term missions have had a profound and positive impact in my life. As a missionary kid growing up in Korean-speaking Canada and South Korea, I learned a lot from the teams that came to visit us every summer. And as a missionary in Africa, I interacted with 4 different mission teams during the course of one summer. It talks about all of these things that happened. So in short, it was like, look, no, I do not think they do harm, but
The potential.
if these are overlooked,
Yeah.
if these elements are overlooked, it can do harm. So
See, and I'm glad they did that in the conclusion. And I think to answer the Starmy who chimed in on the lifeline, I think that's most of what I've always heard is that these are the potential for the negative things that can happen,
Right.
the negative impact. So we have to be sensitive to those things and be aware of those things, not going in with those with our
Right.
blinders on,
And-
but realizing that we still haven't. Because I'll tell you what, I know my friends Randy and Joan in Slovenia, when teams from America go over there, it is such an encouragement to them.
Yeah.
Because it not that they need validation, but it sort of validates some of the work that they're doing.
Right.
And not only that, it's just good when you haven't seen, because the people that go over there, the reason they go over there is because they're friends with Randy and Joan.
Yeah.
That's why their church has a partnership with them, because they know them. They have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Long before they even went overseas.
Yeah.
So when they go over, it's like a little bit of a reunion. We get to hang out with our friends, and I get to see some of the beautiful sights. I haven't been to Slovenia yet, but we're going to go as soon as we can. And
bring a
garlic clove
steak and
Yes.
garlic clove, but not that kind of steak, like a wooden steak.
Wooden steak.
Oh.
Garlic. Yes.
I've been assured.
You said garlic, and I thought, man, those go really good on top of ribeye.
I've been reassured that they already have that stuff.
Okay.
Because it's hard to get that through customs.
Yeah, that's
It's
that
hard
is
to-
true.
Yeah.
That is true.
The cops frown on
Crossbows are
sharp,
frowned upon.
sharp
Yes.
pointy wooden
So,
steaks.
Yeah.
But they have them there if you go. So
Yeah.
No,
So anyways,
it's a
they
joke. It's a joke. Get off me.
They said they were confident with careful planning and deliberate preparation,
Yeah.
short-term mission trips can maintain a solidly positive impact.
See, I think that's a good article.
Admittedly, the article really just raises questions, does not provide answers, but questions are a good place to start in order to understand problems.
Yeah.
To prepare people for mission trips.
You don't want to just show up blind.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, be prepared.
Yep. All right, we got to take a break. Good morning, everybody. We're live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios. Hang out with us.
Philip DeCourcy warns us of the dangers of doing it alone.
If you want to know if you've gone from good worry to bad worry, I think this will help. Number one, bad worry's marked by constant distraction. It's one thing to be concerned about something, but to be preoccupied with it to a point where it distracts you, then you know it's good worry gone bad. Because the word for worry in this passage is 2 Greek words, divided mind. And worry at its worst leads to distraction, where you can't focus. So if you're constantly distracted by something and you can't leave it with God and you haven't given it up to God, you keep coming back to it where it disturbs your peace, that's probably good worry gone bad. Number 2, it often evidences itself in diminished trust. Because Jesus will say in a moment, you have little faith, I've got something to say to you.
That's your PowerPoint on Star 88. This is a fresh thought. Listen up to Levi Lusko.
Teach us to realize the brevity of life so that we may grow in wisdom. I can see it now. Some of you, you're 17, you're 24. Not me. I'm the prime of my life. Before you're going to blink. You're going to blink and decades are going to pass. And the longer you live, the faster it goes. Time is not on your side. I like how Aristotle put it. He said, we should measure time in heart throbs. And every time your heart beats, it's a gift. And you're not guaranteed it's going to happen again. 5 years, you might not live 3. 5 years, you might be in the ground in 6 months. Our life Peter said, quoting the prophet Isaiah, look at it, is like the flower of the grass.
For more fresh thoughts, go to LeviLusco.com. Here's a solar flare from Charles Spurgeon. You said, if I had a little more, I should be very satisfied. You make a mistake. If you're not content with what you have, you would be satisfied if it were double. This is Star 88.
Sinking even deeper, hope is out of view. Becoming a believer of what ain't even true. I focus on my issues, that's just what I do. What did I get into? I'm really needing you. Nothing can hold me back, it's all in your control. Nothing can hold me down, I am letting go. I'ma give you all my troubles, I'ma give you all my worries, all my fear and all my struggles. I'ma give you all my problems, I'ma give you all my failures. I know only you can solve them. I'ma give it. Every step I'm getting closer to who I wanna be. There's freedom and surrender. I know you got me. Nothing can hold me back, it's all in your control. Nothing can hold me down, I am letting go. I'ma give you all my troubles, I'ma give you all my worries, all my fear and all my struggles. I'ma give you all my problems, I'ma give you all my failures. I know only you can solve them. I'ma give it.
A tu manera todo sale bien, a mi manera todo sale mal. Si no eres tú, no existe quien me pueda a mí librar de un final fatal. Iré donde tú vayas, ganaré solo si tú peleas mis batallas. Tú nunca fallas, me rindo a tu voluntad, tú eres mi vida, camino y verdad. A ti me rindo, te lo doy todo.
I know that you got me.
Oh man.
I'ma give you all my troubles, I'ma give you all my worries, all my fear and all my struggles. I'ma give you all my problems, I'ma give you all my failures. I know you can solve them. I'ma give you all my troubles, I'ma give you all my worries, all my fear and all my struggles. I'ma give you all my problems, I'ma give you all my failures. I know you can solve them. I'ma give it.
What's going on in the news today?
The first public congressional hearing for FBI agent Peter Strzok under fire for anti-Trump text messages.
I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed. I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok.
At least 38 people were injured when a school bus filled with students was involved in a crash with a truck.
I believe in NATO. I think NATO is very important.
After leading allies to believe the U.S. might abandon its commitment to NATO, President Trump reversed course.
The founder and chairman of Papa John's is stepping down
Following allegations he used the N-word during a conference call.
Stormy Daniels was arrested at a strip club in Columbus, Ohio. The charges have since been dropped. Her lawyer says it's a setup.
Nominations are out for the 70th Primetime Emmy Awards, and for the first time in 17 years, HBO does not lead the pack.
A Chicago man was charged today with a felony hate crime after he was caught on video berating a woman for wearing a T-shirt showing the Puerto Rican flag.
Build-A-Bear stores were holding a special Pay Your Age sales promotion. Turnout was so massive, the sale was canceled out of, quote, crowd and safety concerns.
Sam Swan and I talking running.
Yeah, man.
We're runners.
You could say we're running at the mouth about
Yeah.
running with our feet.
Right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought, man, that I would actually enjoy running?
Yeah,
kind of crazy,
it's
right?
a crazy thing. Since I'm a late in life runner, I thought the same thing. And when I started running, I kind of fell in love with it, especially after my first race.
Yeah.
Leading up to the race, I was like, why am I doing this? And then on race day, after the race was over and everything, I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. Completely
hooked. We were just talking about, I was just talking to Sam about if I'm ready to do a half marathon.
Oh, I heard.
Brian Clopez, he said, hey, you know what? Let's do it September. I got your registration. I'll do it for you. Let's do it together. And I'm like,
now you have to.
But then talking to Sam, he's like, no, you're not ready, bro. You're not ready. And I'm like, thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
He doesn't have enough time. He doesn't have enough base miles.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to do is I don't want to injure myself.
This is July. The race is in September, and he's done a 6-mile run walk. He hasn't actually run 6 miles continuous.
It's a run walk.
And you can do a run walk in the half marathon.
Yeah, bro.
I could. Yeah.
But
what?
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
are you going to do it?
No.
But no, here's the thing. If I run a race,
Steve-O's the kind of guy that gets the whole, and the teacher leaves the room.
No, okay.
Steve-O gets the whole class stood up, and then when she comes back, he sits still. No, I know.
You know.
Oh, I know.
If I could.
Yeah, I know.
I would.
I know.
Yeah.
Dude, right now I'm going through this.
Your back, your neck.
And I feel bad because when I go for runs, I think, I bet you Steve-O looks at me and goes, you know what? That stinks. I wish I could do that.
Enjoy it.
But it made me appreciate, like, that's one thing I look at now is like, I'm appreciating that I'm in good health.
Yeah.
That there's nothing wrong with me right now and that I'm able to do what I'm doing.
You just don't even think about it until your body sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even kidding, guys.
No, I know. I know.
Yesterday I had a little PVC pipe and it just reminded me of back in the CrossFit days, but I was literally just like trying to like do this stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what is happening? I'm
all that
looking
from the
around.
wreck, right?
It's just like,
Yeah.
And so
it'll take a little while to recover.
That's
Yeah.
Like it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
You could do the run walk.
I know I
for
could
a half
do
marathon,
it.
but
I
it's gonna
could finish it for sure, but it would be walking for not a lot of it, but because I'm a run walker right now. I run for 4 or 5 minutes and then I walk for a minute.
Because
I'm thinking if you want to run a half marathon, you're not ready for that.
I'm not ready for that.
You could do the walk run.
Sure.
Yeah. It'll take a lot longer, but you could do it.
But yeah, I'm kind of that guy. I'm very competitive too, and when I do a race, I want to race.
I know.
You know, I did cross country back in the day, and it's funny when I did cross country. Well, when I was in high school, we only did the races were like 4 or 5 miles.
It's like a 5K, isn't it? So 3 miles.
Yeah, it's usually like 3-4 miles, and
Let
so
him
they weren't
say
that
5
bad.
miles, so he sounds cooler.
5 miles.
Sam.
Maybe they were just 3 miles.
In Montana, they ran longer cross country
they're all
because
uphill.
they have more country.
They're all uphill in the wilderness.
And they were running from bears.
Yes, exactly.
It made them
moose.
faster. But
Meese? What's plural? Moosai? What's the
Yeah,
plural?
Moosai, Moosai, yeah.
Name the movie. Name the movie. That's actually from a movie.
Oh, the plural.
Great
Vice
Outdoors?
versa.
Oh.
No, vice versa.
I'll never forget, I did a cross-country race up in the wilderness, and the guy at the starting line had a shotgun from the start.
Shut up.
And he was like, you guys ready? Boom!
We had a shotgun start once. Oh, man, I love that.
Shotgun start.
We had a shotgun start for M88 golf tournament back in the day, and it was like, they really shot a shotgun.
They didn't just start.
Yeah.
Because shotgun in golf is
No, they
figurative
really
for
fired
starting
something.
it all over the course at the same time.
Yeah,
But
they really
started
fired
with-
off
That's
something.
hilarious.
I think that was somebody on M88 that didn't understand that.
Yeah, I don't think
it
they
doesn't
understood.
literally mean shotgun start.
And it was outed as Leto.
That-
Imagine the,
Oh my
the
God.
had to
motion
be-
that started.
The shotgun part was Gentry's idea, wasn't
Oh,
it?
dude,
Yeah,
that was back then.
Yeah.
That was back then.
It had to be.
Yeah, I
man.
think one of the things that's kept me motivated as well is having a good app. There's a free app that I use called Map My Run.
Oh yeah, I use that.
Yeah, and so it tracks, my location, and so it'll show me how far I've run, what my pace is, and to get all that, and then to see, I'm competing against other people that follow me, and so we encourage each other. It's really cool.
My wife, who is my personal trainer, I call her my personal torture person, but she says Dex can do it in September. It's 2 months away.
Yeah,
so
dude. See, exactly.
She's a professional.
Exactly. See, somebody said, do it. You don't have to run fast.
I'm just more cautious.
I've
I
run
just don't want Dex to hurt
5
himself.
half marathons. I'm not in shape at all. I just did one in May. I walked maybe a mile, but I finished at a 12.45 place.
That's good.
Sam's a competitive runner. You're leader. You can do this, bro. That was Brandy in Brandy, California.
Way to go, Brandy.
Can I tell you what my dream is?
What's that?
And I don't know. This is something that
He wants to Forrest Gump it across America.
I do. No, all
be
over the
awesome.
world, actually. So
You got to hold your breath.
I
want to
be an ultra marathon runner.
Yeah.
I want to try.
Yeah.
First I want to do the half marathon. Then I want to do a full marathon. Then I want to do 50 miles. Then I want to do 100 miles. Then I want to do 200 miles.
Shut up.
I'm serious.
And I believe it.
And you know what? I just found this out like 6 months ago that I thought it was impossible for people to do that. I didn't know what an ultra marathon runner was. I'm like, they run 200 miles
people are
for 2 days
crazy.
straight?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Where do you go to the bathroom?
You just
You
go to the
stop
bathroom.
and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You eat while you're running.
I have a Camelback backpack.
They're burning so
that
much
you can
calories.
use.
I don't. I've read articles, and one guy he eats a Big Mac while he's in the middle.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't do that because after eating that,
Ugh, your
it
stomach
would
is
just
heavy.
kill me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But seriously, I have a Camelback. It's like this backpack with the
yeah.
tube
I
and
need
a
to
big
get one
old
of
water
those.
pouch.
Yeah, those are great.
You can have it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
To use. I
I
said
will-
have it, and
I
I was like,
can't-
no!
I can't give it to you, but I will loan it to you
No, I'll
indefinitely.
buy one. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
no,
okay.
no. I used to use it for snowboarding.
Yeah. So a couple days ago, I was on my run, and this is the first time this happened to me. What'd she say?
Read what Brenda just said. Say it out loud. I can't read it.
If he has already gone almost half of a half, he can do it. Be an encourager. Be an encourager, Sam.
Brenda's
an
calling me out,
encourager,
and
Sam.
to think I was going to invite her to be on the air with me
That
today.
is hilarious.
That's
I am
amazing.
so glad she's
Be an
not in here
encourager,
because she would
Sam.
be. You guys would see the tiny fury of
Gosh,
Brenda
Oh, I
Swan.
can
So
imagine.
funny.
But so if this, I'm sure this has happened to you before.
We should call her.
A couple days ago, I was out on a run and I had to go to the bathroom, but it wasn't number one. It was
Yeah.
number
Okay,
two.
That's the
Stop
worst thing.
And I'm like a mile and a half away from coming back
nearest
to
facilities,
Calvary.
yes.
And
Did it make you run faster?
well, I had to walk. I couldn't run because I knew if I ran, it would have been.
It speeds
and,
up the process.
And I knew that it wasn't a solid. It was like, and I kept thinking, what
Why
do I
are you
do?
talking
Like, what do I do? Because I can't call Steve-O because there's no way he's going to pick me up.
Why wouldn't I? Oh, if you accidentally
Yes!
did? No, I wouldn't pick you up.
Exactly. You can't
No,
call
I
anybody to
wouldn't.
pick you up.
You think I want that in Mazda?
Oh, call an Uber.
Gross, dude.
Call an Uber. Yeah, but there's like
$500
a
cleaning fee.
exactly $200 cleaning fee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So that I had that first experience the other day. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh,
weird.
no.
Remember the Stormy Chime just said, so how about Sam and Dex run together?
We could
to
do
See,
that.
I'm not
prep
ready
you,
to run with Sam.
To prep you,
I
you need
invited
to run
him
with
this morning.
Brenda. Like,
Yeah.
forget
Brenda's
Sam.
the trainer. She
Yeah.
always says, "Which way you want to go?" I said, "You're the trainer. I'm the trainee."
Yeah.
Because when we can never make up our mind which route we want to take. Like last time we even did the.
But is it just because she's your bride, so to you she's just so perfect you follow her anywhere?
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. It is.
I said that because
And
she's listening.
and running uphill, I have to follow her because she's a beast uphill. But I get her going downhill because I have long legs. Did I tell you guys a story one time? She was when she is feeling good and we're in good shape and everything. She obviously she's a swimmer, so she's got that. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
swimmers have that extra bit of mental toughness to run, and so she just goes in this beast mode where she can't. And so I wasn't feeling good that day, so I wasn't able to run as fast to keep up with her. And so she keeps pulling away from me. And so I said, make little comments like, you can go ahead, or I can't keep up with you today, or just little things like that. I meant to call her my little speed demon, but instead I said, you're a little demon today. So I had to run behind her for a little while. She was a little upset that I called her a demon on the running course. Yeah. And when she's not feeling well, that's when I know I'm in trouble, because when she's not feeling well, she pushes through. She pins her ears back and just goes, bam, no matter how bad she's feeling. And I know when she says, I don't know, my legs are tired, or my back hurts, or whatever, I'm not feeling good, I can't breathe, whatever ailment she might be feeling on that particular day, which is not very often, but when she does, I always think to myself, well, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
We're going to do hills all day, and she's
man.
going to try to kill me out here on the
See,
course.
that's the best part about not having a running partner is that I can kind of do my own thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I don't want to run with anybody.
Well, I need her with me because if I collapse, I need her to drag me back home.
That's a good call.
Yeah, so,
yeah, that's a good call.
and she's, I mean, we're both so competitive that we're both like, I'm not stopping unless she stops.
Right.
Well, I'm not stopping unless he stops.
Yeah.
And so it kind of helps push forward.
Well, yeah, and there's that I'm
Which is
learning
fun.
the whole mental part of whatever you do. Really, when you're working out, there's that mental part where you can give up easy.
Oh, it's so easy.
And so, but it's mostly mental. You know, like it's what I have found is that the days that I don't want to run, I run, and it's such a great feeling afterwards.
By the time you
because,
finish, you're like, I'm so glad.
oh my
I did
gosh,
that.
you feel so much better.
Yeah.
But it's just, just doing it.
Right.
Like saying, you know what, I'm just gonna go and do it, even though I don't want to.
Right.
And it's just pushing past that mental block.
See, and I had to get past the point. I didn't want to run just to run. I wanted to work towards something. So the first time when we were getting ready for our very first half marathon, when we ran the Duke City half marathon, was our first race. And so I was training for that. That was my motivation. Well, now I've done it enough. Well, I don't know. We've run, I don't know how many, 15, 18 half marathons, something like that. Maybe 12 or 15. I can't remember because there's been some shorter races in there too. But now that I've kind of become a runner, I don't necessarily need a race to be motivated. Now, I did sign up. Runner's World has this this little challenge. They will periodically put out challenges, and they did one at the beginning of the year this year called You versus the Year, and this is the third year they've done it. And so you sign up for it, and they track your, if you have a GPS thing like your watch or you carry your phone with you when you're running, it will automatically load it to this challenge. And so this year's challenge for 2018 is 1,018 kilometers in 1 year. So you have a whole year to run 1,000, which is not, that sounds like, that's a lot of kilometers, but it's not quite as many miles. It's about 750 miles or something like, maybe 800 miles. I'm terrible at math. You mathematicians can laugh at me right now. So I'm working on that challenge. So that's a little bit of the motivation for me to run.
Yeah.
But I've, because I didn't get to run before Christmas for about 2 months, 10 weeks or so, because of my foot.
You're down.
Man, when we started, and literally we ran on January 1st. That was one of our ways we celebrated New Year's, was a run for the new year to start this new challenge. And since then, we've been able to run pretty consistent. Except when I was at camp, I didn't get to the June was a tough month to try to get runs in.
Yeah.
But now since July 1, we've gotten back into it.
Yeah.
I even told Brenda last night as we were finishing our run last night, I was like, I like the consistency we've gotten back into for the month of July so far.
How much does it help with your faith, like your spirituality? Seriously thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like running to me, because you just have to keep going, you know what I mean? And so there's like this weird toughness that comes along with it that you have to break through. I really feel like can help you become more disciplined in other areas of your life.
I think so. I definitely would say so. Because there's days that I, like Dex was just talking about, that I don't want to run. I just don't. My legs are tired, or I've been on my feet all day, or it's been 2 or 3 days because of life, because of schedule. I haven't been able to run, and I know I need to get out there, but I don't want to get out there, and then I do.
Yeah.
So there's the discipline aspect of, I know I need to do this. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And at the end, it'll benefit me. And so sometimes when we're going through trials, we kind of feel that way. I don't deserve this. Why am I going through this? Instead of looking at it like, okay, for whatever reason, this is happening to me. And instead of wondering why it's happening to me, the better question is, what is it that God is trying to show me through this?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of helped me. The running aspect has helped me to deal with life issues that have come up.
Yeah.
Like before I took my sabbatical, I was wrestling with some of that stuff anyway. And even I'm trying to get home from Israel. I told you the long journey that I had. By about after I called Brenda, I vented on the phone to her about this has happened and this delay and blah, 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 and I just kind of spewed all this stuff on the phone to her. And after I got it out of my system, I was like, you know what? Rather than griping because this is happening to me, a better question for me to ask is, what is it that God is trying to show me by this delay of me getting home at a different time? And I don't know that I have an answer, but it certainly changed the way that I looked at things, and it almost even actually became a little bit comical by the time I finally got home.
Yeah.
Man, so to answer your question, Steve-O, it has helped me to be able to be more disciplined.
Yeah.
It has strengthened my resolve in some ways to kind of put a greater amount of effort into what I need to do.
Yeah, even
to put myself in that position.
Even for
God
me,
to
when
speak
I'm
to
out
me.
there running, there's like a good time of meditation.
Oh,
Sometimes there's a good time of just looking around.
I
and
pray while I'm running,
looking at the beauty.
If I'm running, especially if I'm running by myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, you see a road runner try to attack you, and you're
Dude, I
like,
love
"Thank you,
that.
Lord."
And
Thank you for that
the other day,
road
Brenda and I
runner.
came around a corner, and the beautiful sunset, because we were running later in the day that particular day. And I even said out loud, I even said, "Lord, thanks for allowing me to have vision,
to
be able to see the beauty of the sunset that you're allowing me to see right now."
That's
and
cool.
because she was telling a story, and then I said, "I'm sorry, sweetheart, I interrupted your story for a moment of praise." And she goes, "It's never a wrong time to praise."
No, what a good woman.
She's
right
such
there.
a good woman.
All right. You guys can chime in. We're on Facebook and YouTube Live at Star 88 FM. You can text us at 505-585-LIVE. Hang out. We'll be right back.
Star 88 thanks the Rain Tunnel Car Spa for becoming a power partner and supporting this hour of programming. The Rain Tunnel Car Spa with 3 and soon 4 Albuquerque locations, providing car washes, detailing, and gasoline. RainTunnelCarspa.com.
Evangel Christian Academy is a private school that is Christ-centered for tomorrow's leaders. With affordable tuition, small classes, a great sports program, and a secure facility, Evangel strives to equip students for the work God has for them. Our high school utilizes dual credit through C&M by offering 4 courses on our academy campus taught by our staff. Evangel uses a leadership-driven and individualized learning model to help prepare your student to stand strong in their faith and be ready for the real world. To further speak to individual students with various circumstances, we have a Christian-focused online homebound program for up to 20 students, grade 6 through 12. For more information about our programs grade K through 12, please call 505-883-4674 or go online to ecanm.info. That's ecanm.info.
God calls his followers to be holy, but that's hard to achieve when our hearts constantly feel the pull of the world. This week on Walk in the Word, James McDonald helps us go deeper with God, experience His holiness, and be filled with His Holy Spirit. If you're ready to get beyond the do's and don'ts of religion to find a personal relationship with God, listen all week to Walk in the Word.
Make an appointment with James McDonald, weekdays at 12:30 p.m. on our sister station, KNKT 107.1 FM. This is KLYT Albuquerque, Santa Fe, rebroadcast on KKCJ Cannon Air Force Base, KPKJ Mintmore, K201CC Las Cruces, K203EZ Alamogordo, K207CQ Gallup, K211CW Hobbs, K212EH Silver City, K214DE Antonito, K218AK Artesia, K250AB Roswell, K293AO Alamosa, K228DQ Portales, in the free app for iOS and Android, and online at star88.fm.
something wasn't working. Running out of faith. I was so uncertain. I couldn't find my place. Then I let go, let love surround me. And I found myself right where you found me. That's the life in your life. How could I want anything more? It blows my mind every time I'm reminded that you call me yours. That's the life. Yeah, that's the life. Ooh, that's the life. Yeah, that's the life. Ooh. The thing about surrender, that's when the power comes, making you the center, the breath inside my lungs. And why would I run back to where I was? Yeah, 'cause I got everything in your love. That's the life in your life. How could I want anything more? It blows my mind every time I'm reminded that you call me yours. That's the life. Yeah, that's the life. Ooh, that's the life. Yeah, that's the life. Ooh, I know my future holds everyday miracles. Father, you promised me all of eternity. I know my future holds everyday miracles, so bring it on. Father, you promised me all of eternity. Oh, I'm coming home. That's the life in your life. How could I want anything more? It blows my mind every time I'm reminded that you call me yours. That's the life. Yeah, that's the life. That's the life. You paid for mine. That's the life. Ooh, that's the life. Future holds everyday miracles, so bring it on. Father, you promised me all of eternity. Oh, I'm coming home. Oh, I'm coming
It's the Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O.
Guys, it is Friday the 13th. Don't go outside today. Don't walk under ladders. Don't break mirrors. Don't step on ants. Good luck.
Okay.
Some people really believe in that, guys. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And we
Don't step on a crack. You break your mama's back.
Whoa. Watch your language.
Sorry.
Wow. Good morning, everybody. Dex,
Hi.
Steve-O, Sam Swan. It is Friday the 13th. Man, weekend is here. I can't believe the summer. Dude, the summer is almost over, guys. It's almost over. Kids are going to be going back to school in less than a month. Oh, about a month, right? Because they go back to school about this time.
Yep.
Teachers go back in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Brenda's a little grumpy right now.
What is so what do they I always wondered that. I know they have to prepare and get ready for the school year and stuff, but I mean, is it really that much for
They just sit around and gossip.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah. They
Yeah,
probably do. Like a bunch of little chicken hens.
I'm going to get in so much trouble from my wife and my daughter-in-law, who are both public school teachers.
They just sit around and gossip. Yeah.
No, they get their classroom ready. They kind of hang up the new stuff that they want.
How long does that take?
2 weeks. Brenda has to kind of inventory her PE stuff and get all that ready. And then they work on lesson plans and get that all set up.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So that at least for the first quarter they've got stuff laid out because they've got certain requirements that they have to be able to show their principal and. I've got this much done. This is what we're going to do. That kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, it definitely takes a special kind of person to do that job.
And they reconnect and meet. Some of the schools might have a new teacher, so it's a great time to kind of get to know some of the new staff.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So there's some connection time as well.
Yeah.
Besides just the prep work.
Yeah.
So at least that's what Brenda says.
At least
happens.
that's what they say. I don't know.
I am not going home today. I am
don't.
so much trouble. Can I come hang out at your house?
Let's go see Ant-Man.
Sure, man.
Yeah, let's go see Ant-Man.
That's like the
And
one
Wasp.
movie I haven't been able to see it yet, but that was one I was instructed clearly I'm not allowed to see without Chrissy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like,
I will say this.
Fine.
That movie is very entertaining. There are some hilarious.
Oh, sure.
That's what I've heard.
It's so good. It's so well done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Marvel, so it's going to be good.
Yeah. If you love the first one, you're just going to love the second one.
I think so.
Love
That's
it.
exactly how I felt.
Yeah,
I was kind of like, I'm ready for a little letdown from the first one because the first one I thought was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But the whole time during the second one, I was like, well, no letdown here.
No letdown, man. It was so good.
Steve-O, I can't wait till you see it.
I can't
You're
wait till I see
gonna love
it.
it. There's some great lines in there.
There is.
I mean, just
You know what you need to go
hilarious.
watch is Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Oh my gosh.
I want to see that.
Actually,
Right?
yes.
I actually want to see that.
It's got like a 99% on Rotten
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
We got some love from Mr. Rogers' Twitter or something yesterday
What?
because we talked about it on the show. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Beanix tweeted something about it.
No
and-
way.
Yeah, like Mr. Rogers quotes or something.
Oh,
It was
that's
like,
cool.
Sweet.
hey, shout out to these guys.
Yeah.
So, is it playing in the theaters?
Yes,
I'm
it is.
confused. Okay. I mean,
The
I know I've seen it.
documentary. It's not the
Right.
Tom Hanks one. It's the documentary on his life. And
Okay.
Beanix, who seriously, he's on Thursdays. For those who don't know, Brian Nixon, a pastor here, like former monk, really dope dude.
he's a cool
He
guy.
seriously can count on one hand the amount of times he's cried in his life. He said that
And he's
before.
like
And
90.
they're like really intense times. It's like the loss of a child,
Yeah.
when a child got married. He shed tears at this movie.
Wow.
And it was during the gorilla scene.
Stop talking. You know
When he
what?
said what
said
scene it
that,
was, it was like,
But when he said
oh.
that, I got it.
Yeah, I got it. too.
Because in Mr. Rogers met Coco the gorilla, and he started talking about that interaction, and I completely understood because in like a philosophical is very much so like a, I don't want to say pacifist, but I mean for him like all life is so precious. And you
Yes.
can see that by the way he interacts with every human being, no matter your race, your religion, whatever. He's so
Or your species.
kind. Yes. And yeah. So it was just one of those things where Mr. Rogers was such a compelling human being and so compassionate and loving to all people and creatures that
And especially with Coco the
Coco
gorilla.
the gorilla,
I
people were
remember
like
that.
nervous about it because it's like, this is a wild gorilla, and it immediately like hugs him and starts signing "I love you," and like had never met this man.
And this is what
before.
this man does to everybody.
This
He's
is-
always like showing
It's
love.
Mr. Rogers, but I
Yeah.
can't talk about this.
I can't. I cannot
can't.
wait to see it.
Yeah.
I have wanted to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to get the endorsement from you guys.
Yeah, this
Now,
morning
is-
this morning though, there was an ant that was trying to sign "I love you" to Steve-O,
Okay, you know
and
what?
Steve-O
You're such
stomped
an
on its
idiot.
head.
On the ant?
And he suffered for about 5 minutes until Steve-O put it out of its misery.
Wow.
Yes.
Maybe you shouldn't see Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, I know.
Because there are some. I don't want to spoil anything, but there are some
Yep.
actual ants
Yep.
in Ant-Man.
Exactly.
I hate
Uh,
you. I didn't mean to.
What
Well,
if
no,
trying to-
I
he was
meant
trying to
kill the
sign
ant.
Now,
I meant to
love
kill
you.
There's
the ant.
also one coming out. It's not out yet with Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Tom is playing Mr. Rogers.
You know
That's gonna be
that's
cool.
going to be like
That's
the Forrest
gonna
Gump version. That'll be great.
It'll be
But
great.
It'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it'll
wanna see
be
the
like
documentary.
dramatized. But
Yeah.
I want to see the documentary.
Yeah.
I've been intrigued by that. I remembered it was coming out. And what about the Jurassic World, the new one? Have you
saw
guys
that.
seen that yet?
Yep.
I have not.
I have not either. Is it good?
Here's the thing. Jurassic World was so great.
Yeah.
This one isn't. It's not like the Ant-Man sequel. Where it's like
Okay.
just as good. It's fun, but it's not as good.
Okay.
So
That's
a
why I
lot
haven't
of
seen
people
it.
are disappointed
That's a good
in it,
word.
and I would just say just go into it knowing it's going to be fun. I mean, it's dinosaurs. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
remember one time Riley had a friend over and we were talking about dinosaur movies. We were talking about Jurassic Park because we were going to watch the trilogy, the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And this kid goes, yeah, and he talked about one of the scenes that had nothing to do with the dinosaurs necessarily. He said, that's so unrealistic. And I just started laughing. I said, hey, the movie is about dinosaurs. There's not a thing real in there.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, but what I meant was, I said, I know what you meant, but think about what you just said. You're talking about you're criticizing something that's not a reality in a movie about dinosaurs being alive. That's not real.
Yeah. Well, there was I don't know if it was an article that
Unless
a
it's
astronomy member sent
Komodo
us.
dragon.
There's an article that came out that said that we're just a few years away from scientists being able to make
Bring a
real
dinosaur?
dinosaurs.
Really?
Yeah, bring them back.
That's not real.
I mean, why wouldn't it be real? You know, why couldn't they?
that
With
can't-
technology and the
no.
way that
They
things
have
are
the
going, why
technology, but
wouldn't
they
it?
never questioned whether they should actually do it or not.
Yeah. You know, somewhere in Russia, in some underground lab, they have dinosaurs
They've already
somewhere
got a
right
dinosaur.
now. They have like hybrid beans somewhere, dinosaurs.
Blue.
Exactly.
You know me, Blue.
You know it.
You know me, Blue.
You know somewhere in the world something like that's
There's
going
none
down.
of that is happening in the world.
Okay, you live in your
anywhere,
bubble.
Dex.
You live in your bubble, bro. Yeah.
We've been to Mexico. We know.
Yeah, you haven't been on a mission trip yet. You don't know what it's like outside of our country.
Yes.
You spoiled, rotten
Touche.
American.
Touche.
Have you been out of the country ever? Okay.
Yeah, of course. Been to Germany, Austria, Italy, Switzerland.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's just
that's
European
like
versions of
private
America.
school.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. When I was
that'd be cool.
a sophomore in high school, me and some buddies, we just went
Really?
to
That would have been.
Sophomore in high school. Wow.
NIMI, New Mexico Military Institute. We planned a trip out there, and me and about 10 of my friends.
That would have been kind of cool, actually.
Tour Europe. Here's what stinks. Like, and children, here's a reminder why to just
pay attention.
Yeah, dude, and learn from my mistakes. As a grown up, I wish I could have that experience back.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because I was 16 years old without parental supervision in a country that didn't care what age you were when you drink. Seriously.
Yeah.
Showed up in Germany, and there were like people walking down the streets with signs. I'm not even being funny. Singing and being really drunk. And I'm pretty sure I spent all of my money drinking for the next 10 days as a 16-year-old because I was an idiot and I didn't have, I'm really, really disappointed in myself.
I went when I was 18. I did the same trip when I was 18. And when I look back as an adult, I'm like, why can't I do this now?
I know.
I mean, it
I
would have been a different
cared.
experience.
Like Germany, I kind of remember. Austria is the one place, this is really sad. Austria is the one place I genuinely remember because they cared, and it was 18, not 21, but it was still 18. And so here we were with our passports, and it was like there were places where like, no! And it was like, I hate Austria.
Yeah.
Italy, I
back to
remember
Germany.
Verona, went to Verona. Wrote my name on the balcony where William Shakespeare
Dude,
was inspired.
we went there too.
Yeah. It's like
Wow.
this where they claim, that was where William Shakespeare got his inspiration for the balcony scene with Romeo and Juliet. And there's literally millions of like couple names. It's like initials, so and so and so and so.
Wow.
So if I ever go back, I'll just paint over mine because thanks, my high school girlfriend. Didn't work out.
Didn't.
You
Didn't
cursed
work
it.
out.
That was it.
That was the
moment.
Hey, we got to talk about this. Speaking of being fools. Being fooled, you fool! We were talking about Tom Hanks, how he's going to be in this new Mr. Rogers movie, and somebody chimed in asking about Forrest Gump 2. We actually had a couple people
that
text
real?
in.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
So somebody created a trailer called Forrest Gump 2 Forever Jenny, and it's totally a fake fan-made trailer that has stumped so many people, like they're fooled so many people, over 2 million views already, and people think that there's a Forrest Gump 2. But here's why. There is a second Forrest Gump, and it was supposed to be a movie, but 9/11 put an end to that.
Oh.
Like it's a really crazy story, but like because this trailer's making the rounds, people are like, wait, how come we never had a Forrest Gump 2? So I started doing some research, and there was supposed to be a Forrest Gump sequel because there's a Forrest Gump. There's two books. There's Forrest Gump, and then there's Gump and Company.
Wow.
Oh.
Which was the sequel book. But Tom Hanks hates sequels. And so that was the very first reason was he was just like, I don't want to do a sequel, which
You
is
don't
hilarious.
need to do a sequel
Toy
to that.
Story 9. It's like, I don't like sequels, but I'm going to be Woody forever.
Forrest Gump seems like a weird movie to have a sequel to.
Yeah,
you know?
and I started reading, see, the follow-up book, they said another reason was, if you thought Forrest Gump was kind of outlandish, with all of his travels, Forrest Gump 2, like the Gump and Company, is set in the 80s and 90s. He gets involved with the Iran-Contra affair. He accidentally takes out the Berlin Wall. He crashes the Exxon Valdez. Like, it's like... So in the first one, he's like meeting random presidents. In this one, it's like he caused all of these like
See, I love that.
giant events from the 80s and 90s.
I kind of wish they would have done it.
So I'm just
That would
like,
have been awesome.
I
That
don't
would've
know, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, and at one point in the second book, I'm not even joking, the character of Forrest Gump actually meets Tom Hanks.
Oh, really?
Dude, I love it.
It kind of makes me want to read the book.
No, I'm kinda,
right?
Yeah.
For real.
I'm going to look it up on Amazon.
Yeah. So they said not to mention the fact that actually Gump and Company, so just fair warning, literally opens up with derogatory language about never letting anyone make a movie about your life story, whether they get it right or wrong. And they said, like, not sure how the studio and the author would have gotten on the same page with it because the writer of Forrest Gump wasn't necessarily like a super fan of the film, and so in the second one kind of like takes shots at making movies about your life.
So is the book, the first book, is it a lot different than the movie? I would assume if he's not a fan, you know, they probably didn't do a very good job.
So it was still supposed to go forward. Here's the crazy thing. Tom Hanks was hesitant. Robert Zemeckis wasn't sure. But screenwriter Eric Roth actually finished the screenplay for the sequel, popped it in the mail on September 10th, 2001.
Oh, wow.
And then overnight, America
changed.
Fundamentally, changed. And so suddenly the idea of a half-wit stumbling his way through wars and other crises didn't seem entertaining to the studios because it was like, oh man, this guy's like bumbling through these conflicts and the Berlin Wall and causing the Exxon Valdez to crash, and it seemed funny. And then 9/11 happened, and all of a sudden terrorism was like just in our face, and it was like, maybe this isn't as funny as we
because it's almost like he had been an accidental terrorist.
So they actually sat down with Tom Hanks and Robert Zemeckis to fight, despite the fact that like seriously everybody was like kind of anti the sequel. They read through the script and in conclusion they said, we just don't think this is relevant anymore. So 9/11 really was like the final straw that was like never making a Forrest Gump sequel.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So there you go, guys. That's your random. We've been doing like really random trivia this morning, like your the reason why dudes had wigs back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
It's like our 3 degrees, but just really stupid. So somebody said Forrest Gump 2 sounds like it would be terrible, but now everybody's saying you got to watch the trailer. It's really well done. I will say that. Like it totally stumped me at first because I saw it on Facebook, but you can tell because there's scenes from other Tom Hanks films that he kind of put in there, and it was like, wow. But the detail, the care that went into making this trailer is pretty fascinating. So over 2 million views, which is great.
Wow. Yeah.
But here's the internet
2 million
can
and one
trick
now.
you. Yeah, 2 million and one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
can.
gets you.
Yeah,
every time.
You can't believe everything you read on the internet.
I know, right?
I'm watching I'm just thinking
Or
about
watch.
Jenny, and she was, I can't say it, but she was not a nice person.
No, of course not.
Oh.
To Forrest?
Yeah, man. Like I watched it again like a few years ago, and I'm like, oh, Jenny?
Which is funny because that's the same actress who plays
Robin
Buttercup.
Wright.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
Robin Wright.
Yeah.
So she played like the complete opposite of
Yeah.
Dearest
As You
Leslie.
Wish.
And now she's actually, I was about to ruin something for those that watch House of Cards. Never mind.
Don't do it.
I won't.
Don't ruin it.
I've never seen it, but
wow.
I was reading an article with her this week.
Spoiler alert.
Does she live in the House of Cards?
Yeah, well, it was her and Kevin Spacey, and then Kevin Spacey
that's
became
right.
Kevin Spacey.
Yes.
And so they had to kind of write him off, and so she's now the woman in charge, if you will.
So they're going to continue
the
it
the commandress in chief.
Commandress.
So they're going to continue?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, the trailer's out for this final season.
Good.
They're doing one more season without Kevin Spacey. They completely wrote him out.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's just really sad because you think of, all these things we're talking about, how one thing can change everything. I mean, Kevin Spacey's career, no one has seen him since he supposedly entered rehab. There's no paparazzi photos. No, like if you think of it, no one has seen Kevin Spacey. And Robin Wright, she was doing an interview this week talking about it, and she, they asked how their relationship was. Were there things that you noticed? Could you notice? And she's like, I only knew him from action to cut. Like they weren't friends. They didn't really. So she's like, he was a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. They did like 7 seasons of a TV show together. No relationship whatsoever.
Or maybe she just didn't want to talk about it either, Because, you spend that much time with somebody, you kind of know
you would
sometimes,
think.
Yeah,
you would think.
My guess would be that you could do a show like that and still not really ever know somebody.
Yeah, because it's a job. And, I mean, these actors, a lot,
From action to
actors.
cut, I like the way she described that because that makes a lot of sense because then he goes off to his trailer.
Mm-hmm.
She goes off to her trailer.
Right.
Or goes off with her family or whatever.
Yeah. Now, she did say they did some interacting, but it was always about the script. Like, okay, this next scene, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And so she said he was a consummate professional when it came to acting in his career.
But never really.
But she didn't know him. So.
Yeah. Let's talk about that Henry Cavill thing.
Yeah, man.
Because this is, Hollywood has changed. It's different now. I mean, you can't, if you say the wrong thing or if somebody says the wrong thing about you, then that's the one thing I'm having a hard time with is that as soon as somebody accuses you of something without an investigation, they fire you. They take away everything. Netflix says you're done. Hollywood says, you know what, we're done with the script. And just from somebody accusing you of doing something
before
bad.
we get into the article, I do want to say that this is touching on a sensitive subject. So if there's little ones that you might not want to hear talking about the hashtag #MeToo movement, that's what we're about to get into.
Should I step out of the studio?
No, we need your pastoral expertise because I have a real question on this.
Okay.
Henry Cavill, we know him as Superman. He's got a new Mission Impossible movie releasing today. Right? Is it today?
No, it's not this weekend.
Are you sure?
I think Skyscraper opens this weekend. Yeah, with The Rock.
The Rock.
Oh, thanks, bro. Why are you talking to me like that?
Die Hard 6.
Yeah,
okay. Throw a rock at the Skyscraper.
So, dude, now I'm looking. Are you sure it's not out?
I hope it is because I'm sick of that trailer. I've seen it
reviews
like 20
everywhere.
times.
Reviews everywhere.
I've seen the trailer of Mission Impossible, but I don't know when it's being released.
Okay. Well, anyways.
I've seen the trailer 100 times.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
just
me too.
let me watch the movie.
I know, same here. Anyways, okay. Sorry, I mentioned Mission Impossible. He had a lengthy interview with the GQ Australia, and he opened up about the Me Too movement, and he is getting destroyed right now for his words.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bummer because I always perceived him as a really nice individual. In fact, I have a few friends who ran into him here in Albuquerque and said he was always incredibly kind. So he said, there's something wonderful about a man chasing a woman. There's a traditional approach to that, which is nice. I think a woman should be wooed and chased, but maybe I'm old-fashioned for thinking that. However, he said it is very difficult for me to pursue a woman because now there are certain rules in place, quote unquote. He says it's like, well, I don't want to go up and talk to her because I'm going to be called a rapist or something. So you're like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to call an ex-girlfriend instead and go back to a relationship which never really worked out. But it's way safer than casting myself into the fires of hell because I'm someone in the public eye. And if I go and flirt with someone, then who knows what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm. I think it's different coming from him than it is for the average Joe because he is a celebrity. He's in the public eye, like you said.
I understand the sentiment.
The last thing you want is for somebody to accuse you. Because like I said, all it takes is for somebody to accuse you. You walk up to the wrong person, and this woman sees money, and then she's accusing you. I think at this day and age, if you're a celebrity, you should stay away from that.
Of course, immediately the internet went wild, and writers, advocates everywhere. One said, "This is absurd. If Henry Cavill doesn't want to be called a rapist, then all he has to do is not rape anyone." Right?
Oh my gosh.
Somebody said, "Wow, Henry Cavill, I'm so utterly sorry that the Me Too movement has inconvenienced you. I am so
Gosh,
sorry."
people are so dumb.
So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because whereas I understand what he's trying to say and what he's communicated, are we too sensitive with? Are we allowed to talk about anything anymore?
Nope.
Because I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
As a gentleman, he would like to pursue and woo a female.
Right.
He thinks there's something charming and old-fashioned about being able to woo somebody, but he said in this culture, he's too fearful that somebody's going to see something or say something weird, and then next thing you know, he's being called a pervert or something. But I'm like, but how are you wooing them? You know what I mean? Like,
but
like,
it doesn't even matter how if he's being a gentleman, like I said, if you go up to the wrong person, because we see it. There's people
Let me be clear
now.
real quick. I'm sorry, because people are like, oh no, not Henry Cavill. Did he get? No, he did not get in trouble for anything.
He's just being ridiculed for something that he said.
He's being ridiculed for saying that this whole movement has really changed the way that he approaches dating or whether or not he wants to date. You know, because he Anyway,
I do not want to be A-list celebrity. I think that would be so difficult to be in the
for
public
literally
eye.
everything.
Yeah, I mean, you're always looked at. You're always judged. You're in the public eye constantly, and any little mistake is under a microscope. And I think I agree with everything he's saying. You have to be so careful.
To a very minute, very minimum level, we kind of have an understanding of this as a quote-unquote celebrity, but more so as a Christian.
Yeah.
How often has this happened with Christians? Now, we do need to call out poor theology or really, like heresy, things that we see. But how often have we said something on the morning show, being comical or whatever it was, that was taken in a way that immediately it just gets scrutinized by somebody because they didn't stop to like actually digest what they were saying, what somebody was saying, and then it's just.
Or they just heard one little part of it.
Right. 4-alarm fire. We saw this recently with, was it Andy Stanley, right? Who talked about the Old Testament. And if you chop it up and take little phrases, it sounds like you can disregard the Old Testament, which wasn't necessarily what he was saying. And he just got hammered for that. And it happens so regularly. So we're not... Sam, help us. We're just not allowed to talk about anything? I'm out of a job.
This is one of the reasons that I am careful at how I respond to things when I'm on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I don't want any kind of misunderstanding. Because if somebody, the way the radio works, you're in your car for a second, you hear one little thing that I say, and then you turn your car off and you don't hear the whole context of the conversation.
Like Scripture, you open up Scripture and you read one thing, but you don't read what
in
happened
context
before or after.
Yeah. You don't want to proof text. That's a dangerous game to play when you're studying the Scriptures. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, when a question comes and they're asking for our advice. They write into the morning show and they're asking for our advice, particularly on a Friday, and I give very vague answers, and I mostly say you need to go talk to a pastor because I don't know I have other questions because I'm not going to try to answer it over the air because I can't answer it over the air, and I might say something that somebody will disagree with, and I'm not afraid of disagreeing with somebody, but I am concerned about somebody misunderstanding what I might say by not hearing the whole context. And then that causing problems for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't know if you guys have picked up on that or not, but I'm very careful about the way that I answer things.
Right.
Because I'm just not going to come right out and say, I might have a very strong opinion about it, but I'm not going to necessarily express that on the air because of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
It could get
people
repeated.
People are sensitive. People can be ignorant and stupid.
Can be
at
overly
times,
sensitive.
Somebody chimed in and said, I think this is why the movement came about, because there were men that were being disgusting, and hopefully it does make people think on how they approach dating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean you have to crucify everybody else.
Right. Because instantaneously somebody says, I've actually stopped talking to women in the workplace altogether because I'm scared of something being taken the wrong way or getting into trouble. What he said is absolutely true.
And him on a much larger scale. I
Yeah.
think he was talking about himself because he's in the public eye.
Yeah.
I mean, he mentioned that.
Yeah.
Like, he's in the public eye. He's worth millions of dollars.
And who knows who's recording him?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whether it's going to get
taken out of context or what. Yeah. Somebody said there's absolutely nothing wrong with anything he said. I completely agree with what he said. People's lives can be utterly destroyed over nothing but accusations. Culture today is so stupid.
Yeah.
Somebody said 2 questions. One, did he ever actually specifically state that he was talking about the Me Too movement? All I heard was a statement about society today. Are people assuming that's what he meant? And number 2, aren't they just proving his point? He didn't actually do anything, and he's getting destroyed by these people.
Yeah.
Maybe it just isn't worth interacting with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now he's not alone. I will say that a licensed clinical psychologist, Ramani Durvasova, author of Should I Stay or Should I Go, did an interview with Yahoo Lifestyle that some of her male clients now say they felt censored when it comes to dating because of it. She says her job is to explain that being appropriate is not censorship, it's mindfulness, and there is a difference. But the problem boils down to how men behave when it comes to dating. She put a lot of rules in place and stated that it shouldn't be, courtship shouldn't be a process without rules. And sadly, lots of people equate love bombing with courting. And so she talks about how people should get to know each other first, respect each other's boundaries and their pace, have good communication between them.
Yeah.
And that if that happens, a first kiss will come spontaneously. But she just went on to roast, roast Henry Cavill, unfortunately. So,
if you guys want to chime in, 505-585-LIVE, you can text in.
To answer the person's question about society or the Me Too movement, according to the GQ Australia interview, the Me Too movement was brought up. And so, I don't know. The live line is going crazy. Somebody says, I am a woman, and I totally understand what he's saying. People are way too sensitive. Somebody else said, I'm scared to talk to women, period. Just run away. Somebody else said, I agree. Maybe it's hitting his heart. Maybe he does really change in himself. I don't know. There's an update, though. Did you want to read that, or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Henry Cavill actually has come out and apologized for his comments in a statement because of his publicist. I'm just kidding. He said, having seen the reaction to an article in particular about my feelings on dating and the Me Too movement, I just wanted to apologize for any confusion and misunderstanding that this may have created. Insensitivity was absolutely not my intention. In light of this, I would just like to clarify and confirm to all that I have always and will always continue to hold women in the highest of regard, no matter the type of relationship, whether it be friendship, professional, or significant other.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He shouldn't even have to apologize. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. He didn't say anything wrong.
Real question, though. What is this culture creating?
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean? What are we creating for the next generation within this? Like it used to be when we were kids, like, and I don't mean, man, I want to be very careful here. Because there's some things from our childhood that I have reversed. When I was a kid, if you told on somebody, you were called a tattletale and you got in trouble for telling. And I always tell I think that's a stupid sentiment, because if someone is doing something wrong, you always want to say something. So I have kind of tried to reverse that in my children. However, there are certain things that, like the boy who cried wolf was a tale that you heard when you were a child because you didn't want to make up stupid stories or lie because then when you truly were in danger and or needed help, no one would believe you and you wouldn't be there. And now it seems it doesn't matter. You can spit anything out on the internet at any given time, and no one will fact check anything and immediately assume it's real.
Yeah.
And just take the word for it. I mean, look at something as simple as a Forrest Gump 2 trailer with 2 million views, and people are losing their minds,
Right.
stoked for this movie that does not exist. We just kind of ingest and eat everything up, good, bad, and otherwise. So if somebody says something negative about a pastor or someone in the public spotlight, we just immediately assume it's true.
Right. Here's my thought is that I think that the Me Too movement, it's been good and bad because
oh man,
it has
desktop.
Well, think about it.
4001.
Think about it. It has been these people that are doing horrific things, like Bill Cosby, for instance. You know, they should be held accountable.
Yo,
you know, there have been Kevin Spacey. You know, there have been people that these celebrities thought they had all the power. Nobody could touch them. Nobody could stop them. There's no way I'm going to go to jail. I can do whatever I want. The Me Too movement, that put an end to that. I mean, I think it's Henry Weinstein, you know, like
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein, yeah, that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the good thing about this, you know? But then there's also, like, people are being accused of doing things without an investigation.
Right.
And like Chris Hardwick, he, had a popular game show. He did the Talking Dead.
Talking Dead. Yeah.
You know, he's like the new Ryan Seacrest comedian guy. He lost everything because some ex-girlfriend accused him of something that he did, which he's proving that she's crazy, you know, but he lost everything. So, I mean, seems to be good and bad, but I don't know, man. It's
People are chiming in, though, agreeing with Henry Cavill. A mom just chimed in and said, I'm the mom of a 21-year-old. He is very much a gentleman, but his dating scares me for this very reason. So I agree with what Henry Cavill said.
Yeah, I think I think a potential backlash to all of this, to any of this, could be that we're just going to stop talking.
Yeah,
we're not going to be honest. We're not going to.
Yeah,
we're losing internet. This is all an attempt to be transparent and get all that stuff out. But in a sense of self-preservation, I think what's going to happen is that the backlash is going to be there's not going to be any communication. That we're not going to. In order to get this stuff exposed, well, we don't want to be falsely accused. Nobody wants to be falsely accused, so nobody's going to say anything. And you're already seeing it. Some of the backlash about being afraid to date. I don't even want to talk to a lady. I don't want to.
That mom just chimed back in. The mom of a 21-year-old said there was a poll recently, and 12%, which isn't. It depends. It's like that's not a high number, but 12% of women his age, 21, 25 age range, said that asking a girl on a date was considered sexual harassment.
What?
Yeah.
That's only 12%, but it's still like there's a percentage of people who believe if you ask them out on a date, that is sexual harassment.
Wow.
So I mean.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Our boy Thickpin in New York chimed in and said, Dex is right. Henry Cavill should not have to apologize, but I will say this is one of the best realist apologies I've seen. Quote, I want to apologize for any confusion or misunderstanding my word choice caused. He's still standing by his sentiments, but acknowledges that had he meant what some people interpreted his statements as, he's still texting. A publicist's written apology reads like, I used to think one thing, but now I have seen the error of my ways, blah, 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 blah. And that wasn't this. This was like, hey, sorry for the confusion of my word choice, but he did not.
It was a well-worded apology.
It was. Man, I really like Henry Cavill. Like, it really frustrates me.
He's a good dude. He seems like the real deal.
No!
You know, it seems to me that in America, we have free speech, right? Aren't we allowed to say anything? Even if we say something that makes a bunch of people mad, we have the right to say that, right? But now what we're doing is we're creating a sort of the idea of not saying anything.
Yeah.
We're all going to be afraid to say anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of, not to Jesus juke the conversation, but let's take it back to the gospel. There are nations where it's like an offense Like you will go to prison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cannot freely do that. Now we're speaking to different things, whether it's dating or proclaiming the gospel, like no matter what,
Right,
like
right,
we
right.
will. But I don't know that every American Christian that I know would be like, you know what, for the sake of the gospel, I'm going to prison, dog.
Yeah.
There are probably many that would be like, well, I'm just going to work hard and instill great values in my children and share the love of Jesus to them, and we're going to quietly enjoy our life. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, what are we creating?
Yeah, that's a
danger-
very
it's a-
large question.
Yeah. Well, you've got 16 minutes, so answer it, darn it.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Okay.
You make me Baptist
Poor Sam
cuss.
does not want to talk about this.
So,
anymore.
Gosh darn it.
So, as I was saying, I'm very careful about how I answer questions on the morning show.
Phone lines are blowing up. I mean, we can listen to other people.
Yeah.
and
Just
let
marinate
them
for a
put
little
their
bit.
I'll
let
let
them
it
put
marinate.
their foot in
Sure.
their mouth.
Sure.
Let them have to publicly apologize later through their publicist.
505-338-3700 if you'd like to call in. Good morning.
Hi, I just wanted to put in a little bit of a woman's perspective here. I see a lot of men saying, oh, like, I'm too afraid to even talk to a woman now. I just want to point out that it's been hundreds of years that women have been afraid to even walk down the street of their own neighborhood. Because men can really do whatever they want to a woman, and that's been the culture of history. And I feel like what the movements that are happening today are really doing is making people question their word choice.
Yeah.
If you feel like you can't talk to a woman now, then that's guilt that you've talked to a woman wrongly before.
Could be.
Could be,
We
exactly.
want it. That's a
Could
gross overgeneralization. I love you so much. You know I do. Could be. It not necessarily every time is that, because unfortunately we've seen casualties of people who have lost jobs over accusations that later turned out to be incorrect, but it was too late. Lives were destroyed. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree. As far as the false accusations go, that those people should be punished in the same way that a guilty person would be punished for if they had committed those crimes. I do feel that lying and making up those false accusations should be punishable.
Yeah.
But as far as the culture of I don't feel like I can even talk to women now, I feel like that's a good thing to make people really question how they're talking to women.
No, I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about, that's another good thing that came out of this is that we need to be so careful with our words.
Yeah.
There are a lot of,
Yeah.
there are a lot of, I can't even say the word. Joey said it this morning, but
I
I'm not
know,
going to
right?
say it again.
Don't say it again.
But they're just,
bad dudes,
knuckleheads out
Bad
there
guys.
that think they can say whatever they want, and for some reason they think that girls like to be talked that way, and it's just disgusting.
It's not true.
And so I totally get what you're saying.
If you've seen those videos where women who are catcalled will just approach the men and say, do you think women appreciate being talked to that way? And the men really do believe that it's a compliment.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Man.
Yeah. Good
Thank
call.
you for calling.
Thank you so much. 505.
Somebody said the problem.
338-3700.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's 338-3700. The problem, they said the problem with the information age is you can see in real time people's bias and ignorance.
Or a misstep.
Yeah.
Or a misstep.
Or a misstep,
Sometimes they just say the wrong thing. They don't. It's not a habit of lifestyle that they say the wrong thing. They just get caught on video. And so it looks like it's something that they do all the time when it's just a misstep.
We had an angry, gross, generalizer person chiming in, like frustrated with that last call for that very reason, saying, hey, it's not always that. I am an awkward dude. I have never been accused of anything and never said anything out of step. But I am always afraid that my words will be mistaken. Because there are just dudes out there who don't know how to talk to ladies. Like, it's not always.
It's rooted
maybe
in
the
a personal
awkwardness-
insecurity.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How many times have you said something to your wife and you didn't mean it?
As soon as it came out of my mouth,
Exactly.
I regretted it.
Exactly. I don't know how many times I've said things and then I'm like, Oh my gosh, I did not mean it that way
at
all.
Let me just repeat. I am thankful that Brenda decided not to come to the studio today to answer this particular question.
Well, here's the thing. Somebody said, but this could be the result of our culture already. We are in a hyper-sexualization culture that has created the expectation for sex on dates. Yes, even the first date. Tinder has done this. Hookup culture has done this. 50 Shades of Grey has done this. It's what's expected. So it follows that asking someone out is sadly sexual harassment because according to the standards our culture has set, that's what a date means at this point. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, somebody said, but that caller is right. Men are essentially praised for sexual exploits, and it's not right. And I agree that sometimes that is absolutely the case.
Absolutely.
You know, but I don't. What's sad is we are overgeneralizing literally everything. So what Henry Cavill's saying, like everybody's just going to get lumped into a singular category because he's a man. He must be a pig. This is what his words must have meant.
Right. Yeah.
Which, looking at it now, it's like, oh, maybe he didn't use the correct verbiage or whatever. He probably didn't necessarily mean that, but it's just like there's the one idiot Christian who is caught embezzling all of the millions of dollars in the church, and then now every Christian is this. Like, we will go to great lengths to overly generalize, and it's something that we talk about during Shock Therapy Live when Nate and Janae are on and we have questions about sex, because immediately it's like, oh, well, all dudes think about a sex. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I have some friends that are dudes who were pure until they were 27 years old and got married, and it was the first time they'd ever, you know what I mean? It's like, that is a generalization stating that all men want this or all women want that or whatever it may be, and we're not careful with it. So, gosh, dude, not to steer away from the Me Too, but just continuing with how important our words are. Did you see the video circulating?
I haven't.
There was a man at a public park who was berating a woman, speaking of treating women ridiculously, because she was wearing a Puerto Rico shirt. It was like the Puerto Rican flag. And he was like, man, he didn't physically attack her, but he was straight up like, you could tell, old dude fought in wars.
Yeah.
No tact. Just attacking her for wearing
Was this 4th of July?
Puerto Rico shirt in our country.
Yeah. And didn't the woman, she didn't know? Or I might be thinking of another story. Did this woman even know that it was a Puerto Rican flag shirt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm thinking of somebody else then.
She was born in Puerto Rico, but he was talking about how she needed to become a citizen, and she was trying to explain to him that, like, Puerto Ricans are citizens of the United States. And she was trying to very calmly explain to this man. It happened in Chicago. And he's 62 years old, lost his mind on her. Well, the video's been posted on social media, viewed a gajillion times. He was seen, it happened June 14th, berating the woman at this park where she had gotten a permit because she was throwing a birthday party. She's wearing this shirt, and he just, went off, harassing her, questioning her citizenship. But there's a police officer in the video just standing there, just not even doing anything. And the brother finally has to, like, intervene because the guy was, like, trying to get in her face, coming around picnic tables. And, somebody else actually ended up calling another officer, and the second officer showed up and stepped in. And so, of course, now the police are apologizing because they didn't take action quick enough, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. This dude didn't physically touch her, but he, when you see the video, the hate, the venom, just the ignorance really spewing out of him. He was charged yesterday with 2 felony counts of committing a hate crime.
Wow.
In addition to misdemeanor accounts of assault and disorderly conduct for throwing those words at her.
And I wonder if he would have done that. The fact that she's a female probably is not a main part of the story.
No.
Because
like the brother, this giant Puerto Rican brother of hers that had to intervene, he's still trying to push past that guy.
Yeah.
He's still berating the brother as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was...
So it's not necessarily related male-female.
No,
but just,
not male-female. Just talking about the hate, the words,
and
the culture we've created, and then the instantaneous, hammer that's coming down, because this dude just got charged with felony hate crime charges for using abusive words. Like, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And so I do think with all of the conversation, we should be mindful of the things that we say.
Absolutely.
Seriously. Of the situation, of where we're at, of who we're talking to, of what we're saying, and of course I can't believe I'm the one saying that. We should be mindful.
Heck yeah.
But we should also be mindful and sensitive to where someone else could be coming from.
Yeah.
We don't know their situation, and I think a lot of times we immediately just. I will tell you right now, growing up in a Baptist Christian home, in my 20s, was always very harsh on what I considered legalistic Christians who didn't understand my tattoos and said the worst of things about them.
Right.
But I need to realize that is their faith, and we're all working out our own, right? Like we're working it out. We're like all getting there, and I have to be kind.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be kind to the person who doesn't necessarily understand, and even if they're spewing something that because they love the Lord, their God, and they're saying, and it's like
they feel like their heart's in the right place.
Yes, but we don't think about those things often enough. Man, it's something that God has convicted me in, because I'm always just frustrated, going, why not? Oh, so what? I mentioned the Foo Fighters this morning. Who cares? It's the greatest rock band in the world, and then it's like, okay, but I have to be mindful that
no, Chris Tomlin is, bro.
Oh, the greatest rock band in the world. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, see, so I think we overgeneralize and put everybody in these little boxes.
Yeah.
And we're all unique and different and individuals, and it's I don't know.
I like that.
Somebody said assault is defined as causing someone to feel threatened. If physical contact occurs, it becomes battery. This definitely qualifies as assault.
I agree, man.
Absolutely.
The way that he was getting up in her face like that, that's
I didn't see
not
the
okay.
video, but even just from the description,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's you don't need to watch the video. It's awful.
bad.
But somebody chimed in to say right before that, telling someone at work, "Hey, you look nice today," can have different meanings to a different person.
Exactly.
You've
got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Because if people feel uncomfortable, because it's as a woman, I've heard this talked about a lot from a woman's perspective, is that like the caller that called in, it's for a long time. I mean, women have been treated differently than men, and most of us men, we are physically stronger. Not all of us. I mean, there are some women out there that could definitely throw down, but we are.
Holly Holmes.
When a woman's in a situation with a man, I mean, I can't imagine how that would feel, knowing that, man, this person could do whatever he wants. That would be a scary situation. So I understand how uncomfortable it could be if somebody's coming on to you and saying things that are inappropriate.
Yeah.
Speaking of inappropriate, somebody chimed in and said, "Hey, but I have to say, my husband is gorgeous. I've been around women who see him and don't realize that he is my spouse, and the things that they say that they would like to do to him is worse than most things I've ever heard a man say."
Wow.
It is interesting. Yeah, man, I don't even want to get into it. Because
isn't there another one that we want to talk about?
I know, right? I'm like, I know. We could totally move on.
Don't.
Well, Ellen got in trouble for this, remember, for Katy Perry for her birthday.
Oh.
Because we're in this culture where you got to be careful with every word you say, and yet Ellen made a pretty interesting birthday shout out to Katy Perry for her birthday, but called out some of her features, if you will, and she got backlash for it because it's like, hey, how come it's okay for women to objectify other women, but like if a man had said that, whoo, career over.
Yeah.
And so it was an interesting conversation there for a minute. It kind of died because you guys don't even remember it, but
I didn't even hear about it.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's very interesting. There were so many other passes for her because it was like, oh, well, it's okay because she's a female, or oh, it's okay because she's a lesbian, or oh, it's okay because, and it's like, nah, man, if we're gonna set a standard, if there is an actual standard, we should keep it. But who defines the standard? I mean, it all comes back to the Word of God, right?
Yeah.
Like, who defines that standard for you in your life?
The Lord has done it. That's why in James he talks. Every chapter there's one little, at least something about the tongue and how we have to be careful what we say. Guard your speech.
Yeah.
Sam Swan, so glad you got to see me today.
The show's over.
It's over?
What the heck, man?
I am so glad it's over.
Yeah, right?
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Yeah, buddy.
My favorite part of Fridays.
All right. Hey, Stormy, have a great weekend. If you missed any of the show, it's on demand. It'll be up in just a little bit. YouTube, Facebook Live will upload those videos here in just a few. And thank you again to Jackie and Joey Belleville for sharing their experience with us. They got to hang out and meet each other for the first time, and it was pretty amazing. So have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
That's all we got. There ain't no more. That's right. Time is tight. It's the end of the show.
Hi, it's Dex. We want you to share your star story. How has Star 88 and the Morning Invasion impacted your life?
Hi, you guys. I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything that you're doing for the community in Albuquerque. And